Wrong.
Your favorite subject?
My favorite subject?
Yep. Everyone's today. Or this weekend.
Oh, good. Oh. Good evening, and welcome to the Monday, June 24th, 2024 meeting of the Litchfield Board of Selectmen. We've just come out of a paperwork session. We'd like to start this meeting off with everyone rising for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right. As we start this meeting off, I would like to recognize our fire chief, Doug Nickel, who's got a special... Yeah, we're ready for you now, sir. Special recognition. So, as they enter the room, give us a second, folks. Welcome, Chief.
Thank you.
You even got Warren out of mothballs.
Actually, I'll stand.
Yep.
Anywhere you'd like.
This is quite a crowd. Very nice. Somebody should have brought refreshments. Chief, the floor is yours.
So I don't know if anybody is aware, but a couple of weeks ago, we had a cardiac arrest event in town with a wonderful outcome. So I'd just like to tonight recognize those people and just kind of go over what happened.
Sure.
All right, so good evening. Tonight we're here before you to share with the Board of Selectmen a life-saving event that occurred in the town of Litchfield back on June 12th. We are here to recognize the many first responders from multiple agencies who all helped play a part in the successful outcome following a sudden cardiac arrest event witnessed firsthand by on-scene responders of Litchfield Fire Rescue and Litchfield Police. The initial call received by Hudson Fire Dispatch reported a male patient at the pickleball courts experiencing severe chest pain and shortness of breath. Within 2 minutes of the call, the fire department duty crew and police arrived on scene. The fire department crew consisted of a paramedic and an AEMT who began a medical assessment. They were assisted shortly thereafter by the fire chief, deputy chief, and another firefighter who were all EMTs. While taking vitals and assessing the patient, the heart monitor indicated the patient was experiencing a severe heart attack, which was relayed to both the Hudson ambulance as well as notifying CMC Hospital in Manchester to activate the cardiac team. Within seconds of the notification, the patient stopped breathing and suddenly went into cardiac arrest. The group's quick assessment, recognition of a sudden cardiac arrest, performance of effective CPR, and defibrillation of the patient, followed by the arrival and assistance from Hudson ambulance crew, brought back spontaneous breathing and pulses, saving the man's life. His survival and amazing recovery also speak to the continued care he received from the cardiac team at CMC Hospital in Manchester. Once at CMC, the patient was brought directly up to the cath lab, where they found 100% blockage in the left anterior descending artery. This is often referred to as the widowmaker artery, as anyone who has this kind of blockage usually dies almost immediately unless they receive appropriate and timely care. And even if they somehow make it to the hospital, they usually do not do very well. Because this artery supplies a significant amount of blood flow to the heart muscle, Harmful blockage stifles oxygen flow and can trigger an abnormal heart rhythm called ventricular fibrillation. VFib will lead to death if not treated quickly and properly, causing cardiac arrest. To add a little more to this amazing event, we soon found out, just prior to the cardiac arrest happening, that the patient's son was actually a Litchfield firefighter. This added more stress to an already stressful situation for all involved. Corey Nader, one of our on-call firefighters, and he's also a full-time police dispatcher in Londonderry, was on his way to the call but hadn't arrived yet. Thankfully, by the time Corey arrived, his dad was breathing and talking, being loaded into the ambulance. Still in need of medical intervention at the hospital, but alive. Sudden cardiac arrest is the leading cause of death in the United States. Most people who experience cardiac arrest do not survive. The survival rate for out-of-hospital arrest for all EMS, what we do, treated cases from survival to hospital discharge is only 1 in 10 people. Survival of a widowmaker is only 7 to 8% of 124,000 cases. So we are very fortunate that Mr. Mike Nader is here with us tonight, doing very well with no other complications. And I just wanted to be able to recognize everybody from Litchfield Police, Litchfield Fire, and Hudson Fire on a great success.
Beautiful.
So I'd like to recognize from Litchfield Fire Rescue, Captain Paramedic Paul Kelly, AEMT Corey Moran, myself, Deputy Chief Ed Glancy, who couldn't be here with us tonight, and EMT Justin Shepard. On the Hudson Fire Department side, Lieutenant Paramedic Greg Rich, Hudson AEMT Mitch Rufiange, I was close. Hudson AEMT Peter Sykes Clark, and Chief of Police Dan Jones and Dennis Tessier of our police department. So I'd like to thank them all because it was a group effort. Many hands make quick work, and it shows by the outcome. So thank you.
We're very fortunate to have the people that we have in this town in close cooperation with Hudson. You guys are fantastic, always have been. We can't thank you enough. Yeah.
It's a team effort.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you're doing well, man.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, thanks.
Knock on wood, brother. There you go.
The chief was there too, right?
Do we have
Yep.
those things at the pickleball court? Do we have one of those AED things? I don't know if you have to be trained.
Do they have an AED at pickleball court?
No,
Do you need training for that?
no. Well, some people have it. It's something that we're going to talk about tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Awesome work, man. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. We can't thank you guys enough.
Thank you. And like I said, it's a group effort, so thank you, everybody, and if anybody wants it, you're welcome to come back to the fire station, to the community room for some refreshments, and like I said, let's get a group picture of everybody. Good.
Awesome. Awesome, guys. Awesome.
You gonna text me that again?
It's gonna be.
Yeah.
It's fine. See there's one outside the door.
What's that?
There's one right outside the door there. One of those things.
Yep, yeah, we have one here.
It is something that we talked about.
Yep.
We brought it up a couple years ago, and this East Market, and they've already started engaging with Chief Nichols and Captain Kelly to find out if we can get one. And the problem would be training. Put it in training, but most likely it'll go into
Where to put it?
They have a job box down there for
Yes.
the pickleballers. So when they're down there using it, they'll open it up.
So somebody must have just started working on them until they got there. Yeah. Okay. That's fantastic.
I've I went through the certifications and it tells you what to do.
Yeah, yeah,
But still,
good. Wow,
we'll be rocking.
yep. So,
Well, this is more like our meetings.
yeah, right? I like that better.
Oh, this is more. That is great news.
Yeah.
Because we usually don't hear that.
That's the kind of stuff we would like to start meetings off with right there.
Yes.
Good stories, good stories. Very good. All right. Okay, going into business. Up first, we have the review and approval of consent items. We have an AP manifest for June 18th, 2024, in the amount of $40,100.48. And for June 25th, 2024, in the amount of $44,457.64. We have a payroll manifest for June 20th, 2024, in the amount of $56,505.85. And June 27th, 2024, in the amount of $64,124.15. We have communications received since June 10th, and I'll give everyone the Reader's Digest version. On June 10th, we have Kim Kleiner for notifying everyone of the new building inspector. June 11th, Kim Kleiner, the volunteer recognition night. June 11th, Kim Kleiner and myself, Eversource rate filing. June 12th, Steve Gannon, Sawmill Park. June 12th, myself, Robert Leary, John Brunel, 6 Mulberry Lane. June 12th, Kim Kleiner, referenced Mulberry Lane also. June 14th, Heather Snyman, the budget report for June 14th, 2024. June 19th, Kim Kleiner, the stormwater post-construction regulations and farmers market policy draft. And June 21st, Heather Snyman, budget reports for June 21st, 2024, special fund balances and budgeted revenues for May. Okay. All right, so, and we have the application for a sign use for the Strawberry Festival, which was this weekend. The May treasurer reconciliation and purchase order for Monadnock Archaeological for $14,142. Purchase order for Global Public Safety for a police car fit-up in the amount of $17,495.90, encumbered in 2023. Request to trustees of trust funds from Public Works Expendable Trust for $59,975. Is there anything anyone would like to remove or discuss or anything? John, you good? All right, hearing none, we'll take a motion for approval and consent.
I'll make a motion to approve a consent as read.
I'll second.
Motion from Mr. Brunel and a second from Ms. Queenan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public input will occur no earlier than 6:45 PM. Do we have any requests for other items or other business? Yes, no?
No,
Okay,
sorry.
you went for your paper. All right. Under normal business, approval for the minutes of May 13th, 2024 was tabled, and we have the tabled 6/3/24 amended. Everybody had a chance to look at them, and is there any alterations or?
Yeah, I have a couple of small modifications on the one from last meeting.
Sorry,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
that line is wrong. My apologies. It's June 10th, 2024.
June 10th we got approved.
That's here.
We met 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, the agenda is incorrect.
So it's for June, so we'll change that to June 10th.
June 10th.
Okay.
My apologies.
Make a motion to amend it, tabled June 3rd to June 10th.
I'll second that motion.
Sorry, the June 3rd one's here?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No, that, we already did June 3rd,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I thought.
Yes.
did last meeting.
Yes, the portal is correct.
So, okay. So, we have a motion to accept the minutes,
Which
unless
one-
anyone's got other changes. Let's do May 13th first.
We don't have May 13th, though.
No, just the June
I
10th.
just have June 10th in the portal.
Yeah, we only have June 10th. Very approved.
Okay, okay. All right, I'm looking at my thing here, and it says May
All right.
13th,
Yeah, slide
and then
down the
table
board.
June 3rd.
Slide down a little bit. Not there. Go outside. Yeah, there you go.
Lots of meetings.
That's the updated information. So slide down one more.
Okay,
That was, there's the minutes right there. So there's the motion we have to make, and
okay,
that's the time.
so scratch May 13th. Right?
They're done. Yes, they're done.
Okay, all right, perfect. So motion to approve the June 10th minutes.
Oh, I have some corrections.
Okay, yep.
And Matt's here, or do you want to watch the cable? I'm not sure what you're gonna do. Page 3. After you get through, you know, F, G, H, I, J, K, sixth one down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Starts with me. I asked if conservation had submitted the property maintenance plan. It's really the last sentence of that there. It says, the aim is to ensure, the last sentence says, the aim is to ensure all actions comply with grant requirements to avoid future legal or financial issues. Can you add of the town? We're trying to protect the town, right, that their grants went through, right? And you actually say that later on, of the town. So the aim is to ensure, this is what you have, the aim is to ensure all actions comply with the grant requirements to avoid future or financial issues. I don't know if I should say from the town or of the town. We want to be protected.
I would think it's of the town.
Okay, so of the town, so that's what I said. So just add of the town to the end of that. The end of page 3, that sentence there, so we did have a potential conflict of interest, like you said here. There were 2 grants. So I didn't sign the deal, I signed one. So we did have Chairman Leary did sign the L-CHIP grant.
Yep.
And I signed the one called water, where is that one? Wherever, the other one, the water one.
Water protection.
Because that was the
Water
conflict of interest, he was in a butter. And that one said you had to not be in a butter. So I think we both signed the deal, but
Yes, we did.
L-chip and then whatever the water.
We did.
Actually, you
Nice- nice
mentioned the
work, by
water
way.
one down there.
Nice work.
Oh, okay, that's good. All right, so that's that. Oh, it's called Source Water Protection Grant.
Yep.
Yes. It's a state of
So
New Hampshire.
I signed the Source Water Protection Grant.
Yep.
And you signed
The L-chip.
the L-chip. Let's see, I think that's what actually was. All right, so that's the only 2 I have that are technical. I wanted Wynn to, play back the video, and, because I wanted to say, what did you actually say? Because I was kind of in the back, kind of, letting him do what he wanted to do. So he gave me 4 items here, so do you want me to read them or just write them up and then we do them next week? Because there's a couple. I would say maybe if I can just add them in with a different color, and then they can look at them instead of.
However you want to handle it.
Is that all right? Then we don't want to be behind by one. He has a few here, because he really wants them to be the intent. So-
Okay.
Let's not rewrite meetings.
No, but his intent
It's what he
was,
spoke, not the intent.
no, his intent was, he felt that the Board of Selectmen had let the business down twice, and none of that's mentioned. And that was the main reason he came in here.
Did he say that, though?
Yes, he did. He said it a few times, that's why I wrote it down. So, I don't like whitewashed. We have to report what happened. So I'll add them in, and then we can have a discussion after.
Okay, yeah.
And he mentioned it 3 or 4 times.
All right, add them in, then we'll just go.
Exactly.
We'll review it next week.
Exactly.
Next meeting.
I'll watch the minutes, the meeting.
But the other 2 syntax, are, kind of not syntax, but small.
Well, you're allowed, the first 2 just clarifications.
Yep. Should I keep those, or I'll keep them and throw them in with it? Let me just find out where I just threw my notes. Hold on, I'm getting a little lost here. Oh, there they are. All right, I'll just make sure they're there. But they look great. They really did. So that's all I have. If we could, let me add in his sentences, I'll put them in a certain color and you can all decide.
Perfect.
Okay,
Good?
I'm good.
Okay.
We need to make a motion to table or just, so I'll make a motion to table the minutes from June 10th, 2024. So they can be appropriately.
I'll second.
We have a motion from Mr. Brunel and a second from Mr. Gannon. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 400. Next, we have warrant for, what's that?
Four-legged creatures.
Yep, warrant for unlicensed dogs. You want to come forward? This is your bowl of wax.
Can we get a lot of money for this? $8 a dog?
Well, it's a,
Is it $7 and $8 after?
$7.50.
Yeah, no kidding. I'd be writing a check right now.
We're not gonna register cats.
no.
Please and thank you.
And this is about our discussion the other day.
Right.
So I'll preface.
And there was also something, that, there was a post about the fact that, the fees and how the fees are for a dog officer that we don't have. The fees are not for a dog officer. None of the fees that we collect, people need to understand that a lot of these fees go to the state. We collect them because it's a state, it's the law. We're required to collect it. So what I did is, we broke down the amount and how they are, what we get and what the state gets.
Okay.
So the dog license fee, spay, neuter fee, there's $5. That goes to the state. We don't get that money. We have to send a check every year after the April 30th, and that goes to the state of New Hampshire. The dog overpopulation fee, that's a $2 fee. There's a $50 state license fee. And then there's, after June 1st, we charge a $1 fee and every month we charge a $1 late fee.
Yep.
So that's the $8.50. Once we get to June 1st, there's a $25 civil forfeiture fee. And then there is a $5 service fee, which covers the letter that needs to be printed.
Yep.
And the police officer going to make the delivery to the house to deliver these letters. We used to do them through certified mail, and the cost of certified mail is more. So that would cover, at that time, would cover more, and actually would be more if we had to do it that way. So there's nothing in here that is for a dog officer, which is what somebody stated in the post.
Oh.
There's nothing in there. A lot of these fees, like I said, go to the state. We get a portion, I think we get $2.50, which we have to pay for those dog tags.
Yep.
We do charge to mail them out. But, I mean, a lot of this goes to the state. This is a state regulated thing.
Mandated.
It's a mandate. It's not something that the town, it's not something that we like to do. It's not something, as a town, we're not here to harass people about their dogs. I know we have a lot of people moving in to the state that did not have to do this in the state that they're moving from, so they don't want to do it.
Do it.
We're trying to ask people when they move in, they come in, they register their car. Do you have a dog? Do you want to register to vote? Because we have so many new people. A couple of the new developments are, when they sign their lease, they're asking them, if they're allowing pets, they're making them come in
Yep.
and register their dog before they finish their leasing, so that they have to bring back their their dog registration,
Yep.
which makes it easier for us. But I mean, we start in January. We remind people that their rabies is due. In New Hampshire, the vets are required by law to send us the rabies. Once that dog gets their first rabies or rabies every year, they're required by law to email it to us or mail it to us. We update it in the system. If they're from another state, they don't do that. So we don't know that. And I know that there are, like I said, there are people that are not doing it. We're getting notification from neighbors that these other dogs are, not being registered. So we did do up a letter today that kind of just says that our office has been notified. We're not putting anything with it, our office has been notified that there is a dog residing at this address. Please, let us, come in so we can get this dog registered, get the vaccinations into us. It is a state law. We put the RSA with it. We put that the charge is $11. And that if they don't do it, there is a civil forfeiture fee of $30. That's pretty much, I think, all we can do. And hopefully they call us and get the dog registered. I mean, the other letter says that the vet sent us a letter, but their vets are not sending us letters because they're not required to. So,
I just don't know why anyone would mislead you on this when you ask them if they have a dog.
exactly.
Really, some people just have no couth. They'll use that
You
word
ask
instead
them
of something
and-
else.
yeah. Some people, you'll ask them, nope, we don't have a dog, and then you find out that they
Yeah.
do, or,
And that's why I sent Kim the email the other day. There should be a hefty fine attached, not $25 to $30.
right,
But I know we can't do that, right?
right.
So,
And I know there's other people in town that are neighbors to these people that are, getting frustrated because they're registering their dog and doing what's right.
Yep.
And,
they're not.
these other people aren't. So they're, trying to make a point and say, I'm not gonna register my dog then, if they're not registering their dog. So it's gonna start to create an issue, but I don't know what else we can do.
What happens after we serve them the paperwork and they still don't come in and do it?
So after we serve them the paperwork, they have 14 business days to come in and register. If they don't, then they get summons to court.
So it goes with, okay.
Yeah, they'll get summons to court, and then from there, if they don't show up for court, or we've had issues where someone's actually lost their driver's license, the judges actually pulled their driver's license because they wouldn't register their dogs. They had 8 dogs.
What's the expectation of a dog owner? Does the dog have to wear 2 tags? The registration tag and the rabies?
Yeah.
Does it have to wear 2?
You don't have to put the tag on the dog.
You have to register.
You don't, but, I mean, if the dog is running down,
Yeah.
Albuquerque or something, or your dog gets lost, there's no way for the police department to say, hey, this dog belongs to so-and-so. We can't, at the clerk's office, because of the Privacy Act, we can't, someone calls up and says, oh, I found this dog, and here's the tag. You have to call the police department, and they can, they'll tell you what to do with it, but.
At this point, though, it says, dog could be seized. We're gonna try to avoid that at all costs, right?
We don't need any more dogs.
They'll go to court first.
Yeah. I think that there is, something in here also that says 7 days, and they'll have to pay
Yeah, the
7 day,
facilities.
they'll be put in the facility for a period of 7 days after which time, like I said, they'll pay for the full time that they're in there, and I don't think we do that. We We don't go to that extreme, but,
I can't remember the last time the dog pen was even used.
yeah, I don't either. I don't remember us doing that. Most of the time, we don't have any issues. Last year, all of our dogs were registered, by September 1st. We have over 2,000 dogs.
Yeah.
And all of the dogs were registered by September 1st. And the deadline on these, if you look, the deadline on these for the police department to get back to us is August 31st? August 31st.
Okay.
And they got back, everything was back to us, and all dogs were registered by August 30th. So, I mean, we work great together.
Good.
We give them the list, they start working on it. It's been really, really well, been working really well for the past couple of years, so. I don't think we'll
Yeah.
have too many issues. We had 136 on Friday, and then today we have 100 and,
I was one of them.
you weren't on the list.
No, that I registered Friday.
Right, you registered on Friday, but you weren't on the list yet. Because you have a puppy. But, yeah, so we did quite a few today. So,
Good.
yeah. So that list the board just signs that and then gives it to the police department, and then they go through, they've been going through the list already, because we give them I gave it to them Friday. They go through the list, the letters, we do the letters for them, they deliver them, and then they start coming in. But we do start making calls to them the beginning of January. We leave message after message. We send them emails.
And it really, I mean, if you think about it, you guys write a letter.
Yep.
Give it to the police to deliver, and it's the time and the expense of doing that is not even covered by the fine.
No.
You can't raise the fine. Kim,
No.
you spoil all my fun.
It was like,
I'm such a party
I
pooper.
know.
no.
Yep.
It's not really Kim that's taking all your fun away either. It's
I know.
State,
It's this RSA right here, and then there's multiple.
Yep.
just need
It says
a
no.
state rep to go change the law.
We could do that.
Know a couple.
We could do that.
Okay.
Let's take care of our other issue first with the state reps. So, yes.
Okay.
But I just wanted to make clear that the dog officer is not part of those
Yeah.
fees, and that most of those fees go to the state, not
Yeah.
to the town.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that rumor started.
I don't know.
Speeding tickets, that goes to us. It doesn't go to us, it goes to the state.
Yeah.
We get no
Yeah.
benefit for pulling you over and finding you.
It doesn't stay with the town.
Yeah.
We get very little, and it's just to pay for the dog tags.
Yeah.
So, but that's all. Thank you.
Good. Is that it?
That's
We
it.
don't have you for anything else?
No cats.
Okay.
And no cats, please.
No cats.
All right.
All right, need a motion?
Yes.
I make
Yes,
a
we do.
motion to approve the warrant for unlicensed dogs in accordance with state statute 466:13.
Second.
Motion for Mr. Gannon and a second for Mr. Brunel. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400. All right, up next, we're gonna jump the order a little bit, because I see our esteemed road agent here. So let's bring him up to the table and get him home.
Now, this is way more sexy than the rest of that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure about that, so,
You're right.
Road paving, more sexy?
yeah.
All right. So as you know, we put out a request for bids for our paving this year.
Yep.
We put it up for about a month. It was approximately a month, and as of the 18th, we received one bid, and that was from Continental Paving. It came in at $129,278. That's to pave Chasebrook, Leary, and Jeff circles, to repair Pilgrim with the bridge where we worked on the culvert last year, grind that and repave that, and then a section of Cutler. It's just after the big curve, it's kind of breaking up, so we're gonna grind that and repave that. That'll leave us about $70,000 in the fund. We can either look into paving more roads this year or roll that into next year and really start again and hit it hard next year. At this point, I think that's kind of where we're looking.
Is that how you feel?
I
mean, 'cause this
I
is your
think so.
department.
The next projects I want to do are larger and entail more milling and paving, and this money would go well towards that. We would do some work on Talent, hopefully Pearson and Century, some of the bigger roads, but they need to be milled. They can't just be overlaid.
Okay.
We definitely looked, the pricing went up considerably. I would say considerably, about a quarter. And Kim and I did look for pricing around the area, and we're right in line with what other towns are getting. It's $106 a ton laid down. Bedford was $107. So we did do some due diligence and look around to make sure that the paving prices were, comparable. So I think it's a fair price. I think it's, of course, we know the company's well qualified. So I'd like permission to enter into a contract with Continental for $129,278 to pave the roads that we spoke about. And that should do it for the paving for this year.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions or anything about it? If not, take a bid to accept the paving.
Make a motion to award the 2024 paving project to Continental Paving for a sum of $129,278.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Gannon and a second from Mr. Brunel. Any discussion, any questions? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 400. Thank you,
Thank you.
and thank you, Continental.
Yeah.
Do we have you for anything else tonight?
Nope, I think that's it. Unless you have any questions,
Storm-
concerns?
Does he have anything to do with the stormwater ordinance compliance? Nothing?
No, it's just
Okay.
the
That's planning.
planning board.
Okay, good, go home.
Thank you.
Take care.
Have a good night. Hope it goes quickly.
Thank you, thanks for everything, man. All right, up next, we have the Farmers Market, which has been tabled from June 12th, 2023, and revised on 1/19/2024.
So, the draft you have in front of you is the draft that was last revised, in January of
Yep.
2024.
Yep.
So, and I want, I spoke a little bit, this week with James and Cara from NRPC. The intent is to allow, commercial, town land, or those that deal with agritourism, the chance to have a farmer's market without them going through a lengthy site review at the planning board. So we feel this should be treated more as an event. It should have road agent looks at it, police looks at it, fire looks at it. If everything's in order, if it's town, you'll have town land, you'll have a little bit more because there may be a certificate of insurance if the town isn't sponsoring the event.
Yep.
But if it's a farm, if it's already zoned for agricultural or commercial, we feel that a farmer's market should be allowed. We want to promote these type of events. We know this is important to the town. It's what the town was based on and formed on and what we've called our livelihood. So it's not to say that it wouldn't have some review. It's going to have the necessary safety reviews. But these folks, if it's a commercial property, they're already, they have their own insurance that
Yep.
and their own property. So as long as it's not impacting the safety of those that are attending or the safety that, those of our roadways, we feel it doesn't necessarily need planning board approval.
So when you say an event, I take that as a single occurrence. If this is something like a flea market that's gonna run all summer long, that would probably be different. You know, you can call it what you want, call it a farmer's market, but if it's gonna be like 8 weeks in the summer, that would probably have to have a site plan review opposed to having a one weekend farmer's market.
We would like to disagree with you.
Yeah.
We'd like to push the button, the
Yeah.
barrel a little out there, because
Mhm.
we feel that we can look at it from a safety standpoint internally by the internal team. And if it's 6 weeks, say, okay, here's your permit for 6 weeks.
Okay.
We know when you're gonna operate. It's not that they can just, start and not notify the town and not go through the internal review. But our folks, especially police and fire, they need to know it's happening on these certain dates. We would not go longer than a season, so a summer season, a spring season. We're not gonna issue a 10-year. We're gonna ask them to come back.
So it'd be year by year, and then it would have to specify
Dates.
how many dates, and then
Times.
also changes can occur, like you can't double it, because then, the fire will have to go out there and make sure that they're still in compliance.
You have to come back for another
Safety.
permit, right?
Correct. And any change that would impact either the number of attendees, the number of vendors that you're having, that could impact the police and fire.
It makes sense.
Yep.
So my only question is, and I think it's great that we finally got here. My only question would be, you said that if it's a town property or like a business or in the agricultural zone, does that mean that a homeowner who has a piece of land can have a farmer's market if he's in the agricultural zone?
If he is zoned agricultural, yes.
Because that's pretty much the whole 3A
To
corridor.
promote agritourism.
Yeah, okay, good. I like it. That was my only question.
I have some questions.
You have some questions?
Of course, because you wanted Win to reread it.
Yeah.
And you've answered 2 of them already. I'm gonna hand it out, just the top part. And I want them back after, but, all right, I'll wait till you're done. So I have the farmer's market here. He didn't think it should go through the Board of Selectmen, the planning board was better, but if that's whatever you guys agree with, he was just thinking the Board of Selectmen wouldn't understand site plan, kind of thing. So if you've already had a conversation, so that is right here, that goes at, right down here, if you're looking at the farmer's market online, it's the first yellow area on page 1. It says a site plan review must be filed with the planning board. You can see it there online.
Yep.
So he was saying the site plan review must be filed, he thought it should be Board of Selectmen. He thought it should be planning board.
Which one?
So my bullet number 1 here, if you look at the one online, the actual farmer's market ordinance,
Yeah.
page 1 has the first yellow
Yep.
comment, let me just find
Yeah,
it
site plan,
myself.
yeah,
I'm totally, let me get it.
okay.
And I know you guys have
Right
been
here,
back
yeah.
and through with this a few times, I'm just saying you asked him to look at it, so he
Yep.
did. So let me just page down to page 1, okay.
I think taking the planning board out streamlines it, that's what the goal was, right? And we're allowing the departments to define whether it's good or bad.
It's fine, they're just saying the
We're
board
taking it
is,
purely as a safety issue.
right, but his comment, because we didn't know you had a conversation, right, was the Board of Selectmen doesn't understand the zoning order, you know what I mean, kind of thing.
Yeah, and
All
I
right,
think-
so that's number 1. Number 2,
I think we're very lucky that we have both yourself and Kevin that are very good with site plans.
Yeah.
So that's a help to us.
we like that. Number 2, he said, go to the first strike-through paragraph that all items must be sold. Let me find that.
That's on the next page.
Is it on the next page?
Yeah, on the next, on your
Oh, that
portal.
big thing?
On your portal,
All right, so he said, all items must be sold. Okay. He wrote,
page 2.
he said to say, all items must be sold. Don't delete it, just say it's the state requirements only. They thought he put the town of, it doesn't matter, you have to have the state be required anyway. He's saying you don't need to have the town. You can just say the state, unless your town is more strict.
Yeah, it's always a stricter one, yeah.
Is it more strict?
So it's never the town.
Okay, so,
The town of Litchfield.
Yeah.
Health inspector is not licensed to.
right,
So there are 13,
okay,
that are, but they're the
something.
entities, the municipalities that have, public health
So he's,
departments. We
okay.
could say
just make it,
as licensed by state requirements, but depending upon how often the event is, the state may not get involved at all. Right? So if you are only having a only having a market once a month, the state's not coming back.
yeah, but you still have to follow state law whether you
still
write
have
it
to
in
follow.
here or not.
Right, so we can put
So-
as per state
Right,
regulations and just leave it at that, but I don't wanna get into what the state regulations are,
exactly.
let them research that on their own.
so that's all he's saying, is keep it there.
Okay.
He just says, do the state is mandatory, that's all.
Okay,
Because again, because it's not there, it doesn't mean you still have to adhere to what the state says. All right, so number 3,
All
specifics, let's see.
all events on town land, you gotta mark up on,
I'm looking at number 3, what do I have?
on the same page where that is, which is page 2.
Yeah,
If you go halfway down that page.
that mark up there, all
It
events
says-
on town land, that's coming up.
Okay, do you have something in between the two of those?
Let me see, the specifics here, like sanitary facilities. Again, he's saying state law has sanitary facilities. Homestead food operation,
Yep.
it's the state.
Yep.
And should be enforced in events, parades and everything, but he's saying generic, no town law, state must apply, so we have that one, right? Hold on. He's saying, you said somewhere in here, town-sponsored event. Yep, that's like
Yeah, all
yeah.
events on town land, with the
Son-
exception
yeah.
of town-sponsored events.
So he's saying parade, concerts, recreation, all of, using it, right? He wants to verify the town insurance weighs in on that, because he's just saying, you remember you made everybody go to training for the guards at the intersections?
Oh, yeah, yep.
He just wanted to make sure, whatever the insurance company said, this is our.
We're talking about farmers markets.
I know.
That's not a parade, a concert, or a recreation.
No,
thing.
but what he's saying is, the liability of the town forced us to do something before, right? Are they doing anything here on the town? That's all he's saying is to check.
Do they have to check in, yeah?
That's all.
Do we have to check with the town insurance?
Just make sure the
So-
town's not liable, that's all he's checking.
so whenever there's an event that is sponsored, I'm just gonna use recreation for an example, because that's a good one. So they give us all the information on the event, and at that point, when I have specifics, I will send it to our insurance company to
Yep.
make sure that they don't see something.
To her point.
They're very good. They have a list of exactly how many sanitary facilities are needed, if we need to rent more porta potties, they let me know that. So town sponsored, I'm not concerned with. We've got that down to a
Okay.
science.
Yeah, I think her point was if someone's doing a private event, does the town insurance need to weigh in? Is
No,
that
no,
what you're
anything that
asking?
the town's doing, concerts,
Yeah.
parades,
Anything the town
as
does on
long
town
as
land.
they go through, he's just making sure
They contact
liability-wise
me.
you're covered.
Go through.
So because you're following state laws, he's just saying, it could be the farmer, it could be anybody.
Yeah.
They do have laws on porta potties, which I'm sure you're reading that. Homestead food licenses are also required, because he's saying somebody, that's terrible, somebody could pick up a piece of poop and say, here, I made it. You know? But he's being honest, but if you know, so if you have a homestead food license, you have to display them.
Yep.
So that's all he's saying. Because what he's saying on that is, if somebody gets food poisoning and half the people who go are sick, who is picking up that liability? That's why you have to have that homestead food license, is what he was saying.
Right, so that, I mean, maybe it's not clear, it's down below,
Where is that?
in the last paragraph.
Oh, you did mention it there, so let's,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll get, okay, so let me just check that. That's what his point was about, just gotta follow state laws.
Yeah.
Forget about what just happened with the 45 vendors showing up. But pictures were shown, and no licenses were displayed, and no homestead foods was displayed. Again, liability. All right. Somebody just brought up a flea market comment, I think Stephen did. You have a purchase of products about flea markets. I think it's on the front page, this last strikeout.
Yeah, it's the first page, bottom one.
Is it purchase products may not be offered for sale? Purchase products may not, let me think. He was saying you don't want to turn it into a flea market. Is that what you want?
Well, aren't we're trying to make it a farmer's market. so-
Exactly, that's what he's saying.
But we
So
struck it out,
Yes.
we put it that.
maybe he
it's-
refused, I got the negative wrong. Purchase products may not
Must
be
be
offered.
locally grown.
You don't want to be
produced
selling,
by the vendor.
we've seen this at other shows in town here, the spandex pants, that's, you know
Oh,
what I mean?
yeah,
You don't
yeah.
want
The
all of that
sunglasses for
showing up,
persons,
right?
yeah,
It's supposed to be a farmer's market, right? As though, I think crossing that out was good, right? Purchase products
Yep.
may not be offered
No.
for sale.
Now, if somebody in town is making the spandex pants, I mean, you
But
know,
anyway.
or something like that.
All right, so they're just saying, purchase products may not be offered for sale is struck out. Now it's a flea market, is that what you want? I don't know. I think he's thinking purchase products might be somebody making something, pies or something, you know, kind of food oriented. All right, and the only other thing he mentioned was local. What does local mean? Is it, you said you have to buy local, where's the word local? I'm sorry, I didn't write it down.
It's locally grown.
Yeah, does he mean local, 15-mile radius, all of New Hampshire? He wasn't sure what local meant. Because farmer's market, when we pulled them in, we had them coming from Bedford, make pasta sauce, people make smoked
I think
meats.
it's locally grown in New Hampshire or
Yeah.
So that's just, so it just
You can
says local.
specify
New Hampshire.
You
State
mean,
of New Hampshire?
you can say New Hampshire if
I
you
wouldn't
want.
specify just New Hampshire
I would say
because,
New England.
New England, yeah.
Well,
Because we could, Wilson Farm grows it here, sell it in Mass, but say somebody just right over the border
Yeah.
is selling something, you know, at a farmer's market that we don't have up here, or like if they have jellies or
Yeah,
jams.
I would say New England.
Yeah, I found a lot of towns left it locally.
Yeah.
Just called it local.
Called it locally, and I think, you know, just naturally
Yeah,
it
you know,
left
it's-
it.
From the area.
so I don't know if you want to leave that sentence there, the one above it, the one to strike on page 1. We have the strikeout about the potentially flea market, but products offered for sale must be locally grown or produced by the vendor. He didn't know what local meant. Is it 50-mile radius, New Hampshire? Because, or you were saying
You want to do is
Litchfield.
rule out of Vermont or.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maple
Yeah.
syrup coming
Just-
from
just-
Vermont.
just
Exactly.
Just say
It's not local.
New England or just leave it local. I mean,
Just leave it
locals,
local. I think local is,
it's vague,
I
yes.
don't
but
know.
vague-
Local's
Yeah, I know,
not-
I agree
I
with
don't
you.
like that.
Local's not
Organically
California.
grown, I don't know.
you're not shipping it in.
Grown
yeah,
on a
by
farm?
plane.
I'm just,
It's not
Coming
China.
from China, but whatever.
Well,
But that's
I mean,
come by
that's,
boat.
that's a
It's
gray
probably
area.
not local.
That's a very gray area. I do agree with that.
Well, then what do you want to, I mean, you want to move this forward. so it
Farm
doesn't
grown?
end in there.
you want farm grown? I don't know.
Well, if someone says to me it's local, I know it's within the New England area.
That's what I was assuming.
I don't, yeah, I would hope. I mean, I wouldn't take it as, you know, I'm coming from New York State, I wouldn't consider that local. Local could be Mass, New Hampshire, Vermont, maybe Maine. Maine, yeah, it's,
Do you want to say New England? I don't know.
Yeah, I would say locally grown New England products or something like that. I would,
They can always ask for a variance,
that.
right?
Now you're Connecticut.
I know.
yeah,
So that's, what does it mean? Yeah.
I don't really see any big.
it's New England.
I'm okay with it being locally grown or local.
Yeah, I am too, but I just don't want to see it stalled anymore at this point.
Or New
Unless we're approval
State
from
of
the
New
board.
Hampshire or bordering state.
I would just leave it local.
That's considered local.
Okay. Sounds good.
I think that's a, yeah, let's leave it local.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with it. I just think that, you know what, if you get someone that comes in, say they are from upstate New York, well, you allow Vermont, why don't you allow?
Right.
But the
see.
state,
But,
we're using New Hampshire state regs in this, right?
But are they gonna wanna drive to New York to come to Litchfield to sell something? How much
Well, they'll
product?
ship it to somebody to sell it.
This is.
They'll be driving home from North Carolina with something in there.
That kind of thing.
But state regs don't tell you where you have to allow products to be from.
They
That's,
Okay,
that's
good.
local
I'm
pilot
I'm
state.
That's
glad.
local preference.
It did with wine.
We can always leave it at the discretion of the board.
You can say at discretion of the board or something. I just don't want a big loophole there.
Yeah,
But,
locally grown, locally produced.
I don't wanna put
Well,
you
the
guys
funny,
in
the
there.
thing is, you're gonna have vendors that are gonna come in, and they're gonna have products, you're not gonna be able to know what their products are. But they're gonna all be local vendors. They may
But
be
they're supposed to
sourcing
have
it
their
from
license,
Vermont.
right?
They may be
Aren't they supposed to
sourcing
have
it
a
from
license?
someplace else.
Do they?
The vendor is supposed to
The
be
vendor.
vetted, right?
So that's why you've got to be somewhat open about this, because if they don't sell a certain amount of product, they don't need a license.
The $20,000 for the food.
Yeah, so, I mean, if they're just making pies and they're selling, $50 worth of pies every,
But the state says you have to list your ingredients
you do have to
and list where you made it.
Yes,
That's the state law.
yes.
So you're making pies, 3 of them, you still have
But you
to,
don't have to be licensed as a,
oh, if you do $20,000 or less of food
Is that a year or is that in a session?
a year,
Yeah.
according to the home
homestead.
license. So again, even though, so I like the fact you're putting in state of New Hampshire, because that makes you do the home
Yeah.
license if you're making
Mm-hmm.
jams, pies, whatever you're doing.
So how do we, so someone comes in, one of the owners of the farms come in, they're gonna do a market. They're gonna have it running on Saturdays, every Saturday for the next 6 weeks. Do they know who's coming at that time? How are they gonna know all this?
The vendor, one putting on the thing is supposed to keep a list of who's coming.
So when they come to us for a request,
Mhm.
they should have a list of all the vendors.
Vendors, any
what their-
licenses
what their
they
product's
have.
gonna be, okay. All right, well, fine.
And then, I remember when we were talking about this during the winter, you were saying how some things have to be inspected by the state, but some things don't because the frequency that they occur, such as, the fairs that set up in a parking lot that are there for a weekend do not. So what is the trigger? How many occurrences must occur when?
Go back to that, huh?
Because that's still, as, that goes back to an event. Is it a single event or is it multiple events? And when you get to that multiple event, when do you hit that trigger point?
Right, so the hard part about that is the state,
Does it look at farmers markets
It's-
differently?
no, it's within a 30-day period, and so, let's see if I can, because I know I wrote the board a memo, and I'll never remember it off the top of my head. It also depends on it's not if it was a one-time event, and it's not if it happens within 30 days, so I can send you that information again, because I don't wanna, it's very specific language.
Do you think we'd hit it with, because most likely a farmer's market will be on a weekend.
Do I think that if you're operating for a full season, I think you're gonna hit the state
Yeah,
trigger.
Okay.
you should.
Yeah, I definitely think you will. But that's state, and let the state handle it. It's not our health inspector.
okay.
At any point.
Right.
Is it our health inspector? But you will, if you're doing a whole, season, you should hit it. And that's why we say, we tell them to see that information, at the DHHS website,
Okay.
because that will tell them, and those RSAs will state exactly what they need to know. But put that on them
Yeah. Yeah.
and not on us.
Yeah.
Because if the state comes down or the state finds them, it's not on the town. It's on the on the homeowner or property owner.
So they should walk around, make sure the licenses are displayed, right?
Yes.
That's on them. That's why
So-
they're insured, they have the insurance, right? Yeah,
What we were thinking is, because of the information that we're gonna be requesting, when they come in to do an internal review with police and fire. And we're going to tell them all this information on, you need to contact the state. You know, this is on you. Especially if they're using their own insurance, their property insurance or homeowner's insurance, they're gonna end up having to get a rider policy.
You'll get a rider, yeah, an umbrella, yep.
Yeah, and that insurance is gonna walk them through everything they need to know as well. But at this point, I think you're safe, it's not the town's responsibility
Yeah, okay.
to make sure that they walk through the steps.
It's of the owner.
And going back to the point we were just talking about, where products of origin, where they come from, and it says on page 1, near where the site plan part was yellowed out, permit shall be granted by the selectmen subject to such terms, conditions, and restrictions as the selectmen may deem appropriate, including without limitation. All right. So that, I think that covers us, I mean, as far as bringing things in from California or, you know, wherever. Unless somebody wants to bring in Alaskan king crab, we'll take some of that.
Yeah, count me in.
There's some exceptions.
Yeah, some extent. But it does give us the right to, you know, yay or nay, something. I think it looks pretty good. Is there any other
So really,
bullet points you have, Kim?
So the only change is the back page, that big strikeout to just say, all items to be sold in accordance with the state of New Hampshire regulations. Is that just the only one?
Yeah.
So
we'll
that's
change
one
that up.
change.
Yeah, I would give it all the strikeouts.
State
Yeah.
laws, that's the big one. The Board of Selectmen, you guys did. State laws must apply, yep. The porta potty and I know, I'm sorry, the spandex and the,
Right?
right, yeah.
Absolutely.
State law, yep, so you already answered the liability on the food poisoning, it's on the owner of the market, right?
Yep.
And hopefully, I don't know how it works if you have your license displayed and they get them sick, I don't know how that works, but somebody should look into that.
Owner.
It's on the owner, yeah.
It would be on the town if it's on town property,
Yeah.
but we'll handle
You'll
that.
have that checklist with.
We'll handle the.
That was the main
checklist.
thing he was questioning, it was just that. All right, the flea market, he said purchase products may not be offered for sale.
That almost sounds to me like he's just saying you can't go buy a truckload of stuff and come there and set it up like a flea market.
No, he said it was struck out, he wasn't sure why.
It is struck out, because I think we're trying to
How it
get
is a
locally
flea
grown,
market.
locally produced stuff, not stuff you go to Walmart and buy for, you know, 30 for.
That's
But
true,
if-
people could do that,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
right, they
absolutely.
could do that.
But if you drive
They're a
up
vendor.
to a farm in upstate New Hampshire and purchase
Peaches,
$2,000 worth of fruits and veggies,
Right.
you can't bring it back to this Litchfield and sell it at a farmer's market as your own.
You can't sell it as your own, correct? You have to put
It's
the
labeling.
origin down, right?
labeling.
Yes.
So that's how you, that's how.
Yeah.
That's
why
good.
you
Cannot be a
purchase
resale.
product.
Got it.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
So, that's why it's struck out? Purchase products may not, so do you want that on there then? You're,
I think we want it off, we clearly stated it has to be
Yeah.
locally grown.
but you just gave a
It has to be
scenario.
locally grown and produced by the vendor that's selling it.
You
So
have,
that
you have,
says
you have
can't
or, not
purchase it.
and.
It's kind of double.
Well, locally grown, so, or let's say, for example, someone's making pies, but they bought the dough from someplace, I mean, I
They
guess
got a
why.
list.
they
I know.
produced-
But you have an or here instead of an and. You just said it had to be both, locally grown and produced by the
Or
vendor.
locally grown or produced by the vendor, so if the vendor is, like John just said, selling pies, they're producing the pies, but
Locally grown.
doesn't mean they're actually growing their own garden to
Yeah, they
make
may not
pies.
have rhubarb here, right,
Yeah.
so, they pulled strawberries in from someplace else who's out of season, who knows?
All right, no, I was just back on the peach example. They go up to buy peaches, they
Yeah.
come back with a
Buy
ton
pie
of
crust from
peaches,
Hannaford, it comes from Maine,
right?
right?
So
You
the
gotta put all
offer for
that
sale
in.
must be grown, locally grown, they are locally grown,
Yep. Yeah.
or produced by the vendor on their property, but locally grown. But I thought that was okay, because you said they're supposed, I do see this at farm stands, it says it's not their own, but it is locally grown.
Yep.
I do see wording, even in Hannaford or Market Basket as well as the other farm stands.
I took the whole purchase products as being purchased, products that are wrapped and sealed and purchased, like,
Yeah, you're a reseller.
yeah, we sell like, Pop-Tarts, 25 cents on a nickel.
All they're doing is transporting the items and selling them at a higher price.
And you're still getting away from a local craftsman that might
But
be
is
there.
it and? No, I'm.
It's both.
I think it's or.
Because you can have an artist that's making something also there, so that's the locally, what is that, produced
Produced, yeah.
by a vendor.
That's why the or needs to
So
be there.
locally grown and produced by the vendor, and then you have to have one for food and one for non-food, I think.
Let's use Chick Farm as an example. He does woodworking. He's not growing his own trees, cut up,
No, but,
so
Right.
he's producing them locally.
yeah, it says produced by the vendor,
Yep. So that would be
that's for
or.
non-food
Okay,
items.
No, I think it's or.
Yeah, I think it's still or, I think we're just,
Semantics.
let's open it for public input. Let's say that's for public input, let's see what the public
That's,
input.
that's coming up next.
No,
Yeah,
no, I know,
so-
I think you guys, obviously this board did it a whole lot of discussion in the past with it.
We have.
And we went round and round and round. I think we're at a point now, we have something that's reasonable.
Put it out there.
Let's get it out to public
And we
input.
can tweak it. We can always tweak it.
I suspect the public will come in and tweak it if they don't like something we
Yep.
say.
Yeah.
You know, there's enough, there's a little bit of wiggle room, I guess, in some respects, but there's enough in here to be able to do it and keep everybody safe.
Yep.
So,
How do you feel?
Good, I'm just reading that last strikeout I didn't mention. Just seeing if it's pertinent. Only for the town land with the exception of the town-sponsored events held by an established nonprofit organization? I just don't understand that bullet. On page 2, the second bullet up from the bottom. I don't understand what was, you needed insurance, I get that.
So basically what that means is if it's on town property, it's probably gonna be done by the recreation. I don't see anybody else doing it, maybe the heritage. But with the town, with the recreation, they go through all that. They have a hierarchy on if it's nonprofit or profit and all that kind of stuff. So let that board deal with that. If they say it's good, it's up to them. We're not gonna be in here and asking why you're nonprofit, or we're not gonna, we don't need to go through to that minute detail.
Okay, I didn't understand why I scratched up. That's-
And because I don't think we wanna require that they be a nonprofit organization that is sponsoring it
Yeah,
on
and-
town land.
And the rec just made some changes to their bylaws to allow profit and nonprofit, and they get different priorities, so just let them, if it's on town land, most likely it's either by being sponsored by the rec, or it's by the Heritage Commission, or maybe the
well, it wouldn't be Heritage Commission, it'd be the historical.
historical,
Not,
yes.
even in our preview, but.
Yeah, you're right.
I think we leave it to rec. If it's town land, if it's any town land that's not rec, it's coming back here
Yeah,
anyways.
yeah, you're right.
I see, look at the bullet above local, you know the local one on the prior page? That might answer some of our questions. So on the bottom one, we're questioning local, but look at the bullet above it. All prepared food must come from a licensed New Hampshire state food processing plant or a homestead food operation.
Yeah, so.
That's prepared food, not raw food like peaches, but
prepared, yeah.
prepared.
Yeah.
All right, so that's fine. And then products for sale must be locally grown, so somebody can go up an hour on the highway, grab some peaches and come back. All right. Or produced by a vendor, meaning more crafts, right, kind of thing.
And, I mean, remember, part of this was, the property owner's getting this. We're not going out to police the individual vendors.
No,
That's
they
the
are.
property owner.
Yep, absolutely. That's a training issue, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we just got the one change, and then it goes to public hearing about just follow the state law.
Yep.
Okay,
Take it on the next meeting.
perfect.
So, you want a motion though, to move it forward? or we
Yes,
don't need to?
please.
I'll make a motion, we approve the draft as modified today of the farmer's market ordinance and issue it for a public hearing at our next available meeting.
Motion from Mr. Brunel,
I will second.
second from Mr. Gannon. Any further discussion? Nope. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400.
Matt, are you clear with the change?
It's just the one on the back.
Matt's looking puzzled.
Just the second bullet on the back by the state.
All right, up next, we have an
Yikes.
abatement for tax map 1, lot 45, 2 Bradford Drive.
Yes, so, it is Bradford Lane, so the, form says Bradford Drive. It's
Yep,
This is a situation where a permit was pulled, the mobile home was removed from the property. Our assessor did not remove it from the property record card, and it has been verified now that it was gone, so we should issue the homeowner
Yep.
a refund of $314.
okay.
Make a motion to approve the abatement for map 1, lot 45, 2 Bradford Lane, in the amount of $314.
A motion from Mr. Gannon?
Second.
He's got it.
Second
got
from Mr. Brunel?
Yep.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400. Being as it is 7:41, I'd like to open it up to public input next. Is there any members of the public who'd like to come forward and speak? Seeing none, I will close public input at 7:42. Just changed. All right. Up next, we have fire impact funds, $35,000 to debt repayment as approved in the 2024 budget. Ms. Kleiner.
So during the '24 budget preparation, this was a motion that passed the budget committee. We actually recommended that we take $35,000 from the fire impact fees and use it for the payment of the fire station bond.
Okay.
So now, since the budget passed, the budget that passed the town meeting
Yep.
included this, we just need a motion for you to allow us to transfer the money and for finance to pay the bill.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion for the transfer of $35,000 from the impact fees fire for deposit to account 01-4711 period, 10 period, 980. Principal long-term debt to be used to pay the bond due for Litchfield Fire Station as approved by the voters in the 2024 budget.
We have a motion for Mr. Brunel,
I'll second it.
a second from Mr. Gannon. Any discussion? I have one question. How much money is left in the impact funds for the fire department? Does this empty it, or?
No, it does not, and
Well, just get it to me whenever.
I will
It'll-
send it to you, but it does not. And
Might be a
so
question
we're
I get.
actually, I looked at it just because the conversation came up, do we do that again for 2025? We would not be able to do the 35, but we may be able to do about 20.
Yep.
Obviously, it's a good use of the impact fees.
Mhm.
So, knowing that it's going to be a tight budget year,
Yep.
as always.
And there's nothing else we can use it for anyway, at this point.
No, I mean, because it really has to be an expansion of services. Right, and so the
Maybe they want a pavilion.
They may want a sign.
No,
It'd be nice if we actually put a sign up there that marks that they're there and the whole town complex is there.
Yeah, they're not represented, you're right.
No, they're not. And we've been talking about taking that sign on Albuquerque and redoing it. and- Somebody for that.
yeah, well, so, yeah, I'm all for a
Electronic sign.
electronic sign that we don't have to go out in the rain and snow and
I know Dar would like that.
stick up those and layout numbers.
It's a fund I'm looking at under impact funds.
Yeah.
It says fire has like $48,081 left,
Yeah, so
$61.
subtract the 35, that's what
Yeah.
it is.
About
We'd
13,000.
just be interested after
Yeah.
that, right?
And we have some views coming in.
Yeah, coming in from the new developments, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
all right. Just in case I get asked that question Thursday. All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries 400. Okay. So up next, we have Board of Selectmen bylaws discussion.
Didn't we just approve these?
Yeah, we did approve them, but we also said that they could be tweaked. And I was tossing around some thoughts on this, because one of the things that I had advocated for was that the chair only serves for 2 years, and then he moves on and gives somebody else a chance. I think that also we should think about doing it with the committees, respective committees that we serve on, so as not to get people too comfortable on one committee for too many years. It would affect me, being on budget, I've been there for 5 years. But I mean, I've known former selectmen that have gone and just sat on conservation for years, or for rec for the entirety of their terms and whatnot, and I think it would be multiple benefits to us as a board, in that it would give some people a chance. If somebody's not a selectman anymore, somebody else already knows that role. Serve a couple of years, then move on, let somebody else have a chance. I think it's something that we can think about moving forward with. Just don't let, just not getting too comfortable in one chair.
So, I'm confused, are you talking about the members of the boards, or are you
Yeah.
talking about?
The
our
ones, no, the
president?
ones we serve on, the ones we sit on.
As we're a
Like
rep
you
on the
do,
board.
yeah, like you
So
do.
you're talking
Tuesday.
about, we should be floating through all the different boards that we're on
Yes,
the, right,
yeah, yeah.
okay, that's fine, I mean, that makes sense, but
Yeah.
I don't know if you, the members will decide that, I don't know if you gotta dictate it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's also about availability too, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, everybody's gotta serve on a committee or a board, in addition to this
Sure.
board here. So, I mean, I think if we don't put something in place, it'll just stay as is, and people will just continue to serve on the boards that they're on.
I like the cross-training aspect. I'd say 2-year minimum, because some of the learning curves are steep.
Yeah.
Like budget or planning. I don't know about the others, but I don't have any insight into them. That would be neat, but you almost need a year just to come up
Yeah,
to speed
that's-
on some of them.
Yeah, it should be 2
But
years.
we did have COVID, and we were thrown at committees, it'd be nice if we had a little training as we,
Yeah.
kind of went out. Wouldn't hurt, or to sit in for somebody.
My only concern about putting a number, like a 2-year number in, is say, for example, let's use recreation for a sample. There's a big project happening, you're just starting it, you've been on it 2 years working towards the project, now you're gonna build another huge park, which you've been an integral part of. You yank him off because he's 2 years off, it makes no sense to yank him off. I think we naturally wanna change up our attendance to different things, but I sat on the budget committee for almost 6 years.
Mhm.
That becomes a time and tested position, because
Oh, yeah.
you know it, you know the budget, and it's one of those very mechanical.
Yeah, I
not-
think
you
you're
have a
more
background,
efficient
and-
when you
right.
sit on it for a long time.
So I get why that happens on the budget committee.
Mhm.
Um,
Well, I think all the boards should be like that, because it does give the other members a chance to see those other committees.
Members should be willing to do it too, but.
Yeah.
I mean, I've sat in for conservation, I've never done planning, and budget, and that's all I've ever done. So, but I think it would round us a little bit better, and, just give us insight to what the other boards and committees do. So, I don't think we need to vote on it tonight, because we're not a full board, so, I did speak with Kevin about it, I know he's in favor of it also, but I think,
Now, doesn't, as far as how long you sit as chair and vice chair, isn't there an RSA that covers that?
No, we just put that in our in our own bylaws. Yeah,
So I
which is
think-
2 years. It doesn't address the vice chair, only the chair.
Yeah. Because I'm thinking, I read it in one of them, and I don't remember, but you could serve again if it's unanimous.
Correct.
If it's unanimous and nobody
Right.
wanted it, or
Yeah.
for whatever
You
reason.
can't
but-
not have a chair, so you.
It
Right.
protects you.
But I'd rather,
But-
like right here, it says you can only serve, no more than 2 consecutive terms, but I would be okay with if it's
But there's,
unanimous, you can go
there's,
3
there's the
or
other
4.
side of the problem, right, where you have, this board is odd as we change off, where
Yep.
you go 3 and kind of
Yep.
3, 2, whatever it is. What happens when you have the last remaining people staying,
Mhm.
and they've already been 2 years, you now have 3
Well,
new
the
members.
board can vote.
You have 3 new members coming on, and that's not helpful for a board to be under leadership that's not, right?
Well, that was gonna be my next point, was that I think that any chair should also serve as a vice chair before becoming the chair. I know that the years that I sat as vice under Steve was very important. I got to run some meetings, you got to see it, and, see how things go, the little things that go on behind the scenes. I think that's important too.
And as you said, if it doesn't work out, the next board can change the bylaws.
Yeah.
There's nothing in law that says we can take it
Yeah.
away. But
Yeah.
I just don't, I don't think it needs to get put in the bylaws. We as an operating can say next year, we're gonna change it up. Everybody moves. Everybody takes it.
Well, I just think it sets it there for future
Yeah,
boards too.
I kind of like it there, I think. It doesn't mean you have to do it.
No.
Once we,
The board can,
finally revealing
like, I
who's
think
gonna
it's,
do
is it
what.
conservation that if it's
I think it's
unanimous,
conservation.
Conservation has a 2-year limit, but for the same.
but they can unanimously
right.
keep a chair, because we had that a couple of years ago. Which if that's the will, the way the board wants to word it, that's fine with me. And I had said, when I took this chair, I was only gonna do it for 2 years, max.
I said that too. I think I served 6
No.
or 5.
2. And you go back in and you sit back there and let other people run it.
But along those lines, some people do not want to be.
Oh, absolutely,
They
yep,
don't
yep.
want to be chief, they want to be an Indian.
Yep.
I would like, if we make any changes, make it so, like conservation, if it's unanimous vote, the chair could stay for another year, or every year, it'd just be 1 year.
are you talking about the individual boards themselves, or you're talking about us as reps?
Just us.
Yeah.
You're saying, so if conservation wanted a certain person, they could say who they
Yeah,
wanted?
so the conservation,
Yeah.
they have a
1 year.
2-year limit,
Yeah.
but if they decide they want the chair to stay a 3rd year.
It must be unanimous.
Oh, yeah, I agree, that's their own board.
Yeah.
But I'm saying,
He's just using it as an example.
As an
We
example.
think that's what the
Okay,
language
gotcha.
is putting
I'm sorry.
on us too.
All right.
And I don't think
So-
it's for the, it's just, as long as the board is unanimous, that can.
It's gotta be
continue on.
unanimous. Yeah.
so like budget committee is a lot, but you're here to answer questions if somebody else is doing it, right? I get the idea about a park taking 2 years, but that could be something that we say, no, stay,
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, it's,
Yeah.
because we're kind of off, everyone's coming off at different times.
Yep.
We have different involved in projects, it's kind of tough to pull somebody out of it,
Yeah, and if you wanna leave them on, it just takes a unanimous vote to do so. Okay.
So no change.
Yeah, we're not gonna
Wait
change
for-
anything tonight. Like I said, I wouldn't do it without the full board anyways. I wouldn't recommend it. The board can obviously do what they wanna do.
I mean, the only change I see, we're talking about maybe adding some language around the vice chair and the chair. I don't,
Well, I still think it would be important and worth it to put the term in there, the term limits.
for the vice chair and chair.
For the vice chair and also serving on the committees. I think it's important. And with the stipulation, like Steve just said, with the unanimous.
I thought we did have something in there for that, but couldn't remember.
Yeah.
What, for the chair, we do. We have 2
Okay.
years, but not the vice chair.
Vice chairs, just.
Yeah, and I think he's also looking. for
And
wording to say-
the vice chair can move up to the chair because that would be the next logical step. And then bring somebody else come into the vice chair seat.
But you are looking to put the wording in there if there's a unanimous vote of the board to keep the existing.
That
chair
always
even.
should override it. It should always override.
I think the board as a body can override anything in there. We can
Well,
totally
yeah.
say goodbye, we don't
But
want to
it's,
listen
but
to
it's a
it
good set of guide, I think it would be
Yeah,
good
okay,
for
yeah.
guidelines.
I just like the cross-training aspect of it.
Mhm.
And because if, like in case Kevin can't go, but I can jump back in because I've done, kind of thing.
Right.
I don't know who your backup is, and budget sounds like John,
John
that kind of thing.
volunteered.
I don't know what I was thinking, but yeah.
I think I've only missed 2 or 3 meetings in 6 years, so, and 2 of them I was on vacation. So,
That's the only reason I ever understand.
yeah, so the August, yeah,
you?
if it's an early August meeting, I'm not there.
Who are you?
What's this?
Coming up next.
Oh, okay.
I'm not
so
rushing you. Just
Up
get
next, we have NRPC updates.
I wasn't rushing you, I'm sorry.
So you go straight to Miss Q?
Miss Q. Yeah, we've got Kim K and Kim Q. Let me close this up.
Kim, you're quick to answer that.
All right. NRPC updates. All right, so you have 2 handouts from me. Let's go through them.
Oh, I didn't
You got the
get
first one, which I went over the farmer's market at the top.
this one.
Yeah, so this one here, Stephen has this one right here, Stephen, right here for that. We're gonna go over both. So we had a lot happen this last quarter at NRPC, it's Nashua Regional Planning Commission. The members, just so you can see, I'm on the bottom of page 1 where it says NRPC. City of Nashua has 4 representatives because of their population. Hudson, notice they're growing very quickly. Pelham 3, Litchfield has 2. Every town, the 13 towns, has a minimum of 2 commissioners, or everyone's allowed 2. Litchfield will go to 3 when we hit population 10,000, okay? But we're not anywhere near that. But I want you to look at the surrounding towns around us that have a lot of, more commissioners than we do. All right, we also have the Transportation System, Federal Highway Department, that's all of the NRPC. Basically, since 1961-62, the whole region was meant to do highway systems, roads, bridges. That's how it was initially funded. All right, so go back onto the next page. So I'm giving you some updates here. Here's the flyer that they send out annually of all the stuff they do for all the towns. Okay? You don't have the back
No, I
page?
think I gave it back to you.
Flip it. Oh, okay, you can have another one. Hold on.
I think I gave it back to you, because you said you wanted it back.
That's okay. Yeah, I'll have that later.
All right.
All right, so when you look at Litchfield, they have done a lot for us as well, but they do a lot for those 13 towns that I mentioned. You all know J. Mancar on the front cover. Okay. Litchfield, we use them for planning board, circuit rider. I like that we have 2 to 3 lawyers on the board at all time. J. Mancara is a lawyer. We have Michael Croto, a lawyer. Sometimes we had, Mr. Buffetti was a lawyer. I love having 2 or 3 lawyers on the committee. They assist with our master plan surveys, all that. They're on capital improvement planning with us, economic development inquiry planning, GIS mapping. They helped form the Heritage Commission with us. They helped conservation with their land strategy plans. Waste material, you get all the idea. They did help us with 2 grants for the Albuquerque signage and line painting near the school, and the Dark Hole intersection, which we have won that grant as well. All right, so my point is, if you go down to section 3, this is this page, they are asking for a $56 increase, 3% for 2025, not next year, or, for 2025 coming up. Actually, I think it won't even kick in until 26. So if you look at this second sheet here that I gave you the rates on, if you look at Litchfield.
Yep.
You can see that the way they calculated the $56, go to Litchfield, we have 8,585 for estimated population, we have about 8,600 people. They base the rate on the estimated number of people that you've had in 2022 based on the census. The percentage of the region, we make up 3.85% of the region of those 13 towns. Our valuation of the town, so they use a formula based on this. Okay, and that's how they came up with the $56 that they have if they did a 3% increase. If you keep going further, it would be $343 if it was a 5% increase. So what I'm trying to make a point is, if you go back to the other sheet, for everything they do for us for section 2, we pay them $12,000 to $16,000, $14,000 a year. I don't think $58 is a big climb. So the executive committee is recommending the 3% raise for $58 because they know the planning board budgets pay this bill and they didn't want to go any higher. So we had an increase a couple of years ago, which started this year. Prior to that, there was no increase for 10 to 12 years. So I'm just giving you this big spiel for $56, so hopefully you can see the approval to pay for the $56 for the NRPC support that they're giving us. Yeah.
In 26, they're going up to an additional $200?
No, where's that? No, these were calculations that if we did nothing, what would happen?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
So
see
the only
proposed
columns you
for-
care about would be the $56 for Litchfield or the $343. So we're recommending the $56.
Gotcha.
for Litchfield. So that's going to, well, that's what they are asking for. I think they're going to present it to the town. So just be aware that it may be coming, $56. But again, if you paid a person in-house to do all of this work, it would be more than $12,000 to $16,000 a year, right? So I'm just letting you know that is coming. The full quarterly commission meeting, we had a big event happen. Oh, not A was just me, okay. I was voted to be the chair of the executive committee, but that's not the big event. But I'm happy I was voted chair.
Congratulations.
Thank you. This gives,
I thought you were trying to take a step back, and
no, I was already vice chair, so.
I thought you were trying to take a step back.
No, this isn't high, it's the same role. So,
Okay.
all right, so this allows, I want you to see, but back here, at Litchfield, we're populated, we got size 2, right? Commissioners, I'm glad that I was that, because we now have NRPC looking at the smaller towns' point of view, not being Hudson and Nashua, okay? All right, so, they're still gonna do mainly the federal DOT transportation structures, right? But now, we spent a whole year doing research, including Litchfield, to start focusing also on housing, water availability, and energy, and grant awareness. So that's starting to roll out now, you're starting to see more on their websites. Okay, here's the big news that happened last week. I did inform Bob Larry about this, just so we know. We need to stop and take a pause. Tip amendments are any projects on the 10-year plan, these are on the 4-year plan, so they're in the 10-year plan, but they have had a trigger that says we have to look at them again, like they went over budget, or maybe there's another bridge that has to be added, something like that. So Hudson officially withdrew themselves from the circumventual highway project. So it is officially dead, as far as the Hudson side. So I was joking, can I go back to the Board of Selectmen and say, this is dead, officially dead, and they said, no, you're the walking dead. So what that means is, we still have to do some cleanup on our side. So we've had this 30, 40-year plan with that circumventual highway. It's now canceled. I was trying to be, I know it's more like 40. So the town needs to
more
make,
like 60.
okay. The town needs to make some strategic decisions with that commercial area. So I'm not saying I want to make a motion, but I think we need to discuss, if we were to make a couple of motions to clean it up, that only the Board of Selectmen in coordination with our municipal council are the only town board allowed to research, pursue, and contact the state of New Hampshire regarding the state's land for the closed circumventual highway project. So again, we need to pause, it's been 40, 50, 60 years, and just see what we have there first. I don't want to run on the land yet. And then, so that would close out the circumventual highway project. Just pause for now. Not saying you can't go for it later, but just now. The second thing was, I'd like, if we were gonna do a motion, the Board of Selectmen to coordinate with the municipal council only. Let me rephrase that only the Board of Selectmen in coordination with our municipal council are the only town board allowed to research, pursue, and contact the state of New Hampshire regarding any land that the state of New Hampshire currently owns in Litchfield, so we can have a discussion on their future plans and our future use. We need to know if they are going to plan water systems, if they're gonna plan gas pipelines. We need to have an honest conversation with the state. Now, can we stop a personal company or another citizen from going and approaching the state? No, but I'm hoping we can say as a board that we don't want a run on this land and we need to just stop and pause and see what we have. So,
Kim, quick
Yep.
question.
Yep.
When you say municipal council, who is that?
our town council.
Okay.
Do you want to, we can rephrase it. I just made a stab at this, so we
I
can
just- I
definitely
wanted to make sure-
rephrase these.
I was assuming you were thinking our legal advisors, but I just wanted to make sure.
You want to make it town council? I would just like the state to deal with one person, not a rush on people. So Hudson did give part of their land, the state gave Hudson part of their land back.
Yes.
I think it was the Benson.
Benson's
Yeah,
Park.
so again, I would just like the attorneys to be talking, you know.
How
Again,
much
I can't
land
stop.
do we have
A lot of
circumvented?
land down there.
616 acres is what the state owns within
There you go.
Litchfield.
Yep.
287 of that is state forest,
She just gave it to me today,
Not-
because we were.
99.6 is natural water source protected, grassy
We're
pond.
map 1 and 2 at the top. It's the circumventual.
Most of the circumventual land is, map 1 and 2. So you're probably looking at between 120 and 130 acres.
Was that the state land? What's the two
Yeah,
state
it's
lands?
it's the map, 1 and 2.
So I just saw this like a
Lots.
few minutes ago, so if you wanna share it with anybody, or? So again, let her do her research, or the, but I don't, I think we need
did reach
to,
out to.
oh, you have extra, good.
I wanna pass that, I think that's all I have, but
Okay, so they're done with
go
it.
It's like
ahead, I don't
punched
need
through to
it,
the
I
end of
have it on my
Albuquerque.
computer.
You know, Page Road. That's a lot of Mars, there's private land in there. I don't know what's in there. I can give one back to, here you go. It's the top ones that say map lot 1 and 2.
Yep.
Probably are, but again,
Cause that was
it's
the
public
land that was
information, I
purchased.
just don't wanna run on the land. I just think the town needs to pause for strategically how to use that land. Not saying we can't use it other, different ways, but see what we have.
And it's town council's, recommendation that Laura Spector Moran, that we go through her and allow her to investigate who at the state we should speak to. So, she'll reach out to state, council, and they'll have a discussion, but what I think we should try to avoid is having a lot of different town officials start speaking to different state agencies.
Yep. I would agree with
Focused
that.
approach.
Yeah, because it's been 40 to 60 years.
Yeah.
We are out from under that. Now we need to, as a governing body, what do we have? What do we need to do strategically for the town? And again, what does the state want to do with the land? They might have plans we don't know about, so we need an honest conversation.
And you have a lot going on, right? You have the water going
Right.
on.
Yep.
That we're not fully aware of everything that's going on there yet. You have economic development, you have, I mean, a lot of different things that are all gonna have to be weighed into.
So, before we go back to those motions, there's one more key item on that on the next page. At the meeting, there was a gentleman there, I think it was Bob Bollinger, but I'm not sure. He comes into the planning board for transportation counts and all of that. He said when he looks at the federal and New Hampshire DOT maps or any write-ups on the highway, it's still being shown in all kinds of documentation as a not yet built highway, so it's on documentation. So I'm not sure how to clean that up. We'll probably need to work with them. Or hopefully they're cleaning it themselves, but at least make a call to find out how that's being cleaned up. So, it's on federal documents at this point.
If it's on feds and.
They do it?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
it's a big,
That's fine.
but that's process.
Okay, so before we get to the second one, I just want to, I think we should do this. I'll stand out and say that. I would like to have, if we could, two motions. One, to close the circumvention highway project, so we recognize it's, See, it was always in the will never happen column, but I always kept one eye open watching that. Because there was a lot of COVID money floating around, right?
Oh, yeah?
So now it's removed from the plan altogether.
I'm confused. We have no power on the land right now. How do we make a motion to stop it?
The motion isn't to stop it because citizens can go or companies. The motion is to just not allow other boards to go run for that land. We want to see what we have and have one voice to the state.
But there's not a single board here that can't do it on their own anyway. They have to come to us for approval.
Yes, I think with
Just making
What-
it.
trying to set the expectation that
Yeah.
if you start to talk to a lot of state agencies about this land and start having conversations that the board isn't aware of, and more important, our town council isn't aware of,
Yep.
it can cause problems. So I think the best way to start is keep it between the board and town council, let town council investigate, because town council's gonna find out what does the state
Yep.
think this land is gonna be used for in the future. And keeping one conversation is always the best.
So,
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, so if we can make a motion and tell our boards that they can't approach the state, I don't think that's what we should do. I think we should agree to notify the boards that the Board of Selectmen are pursuing these lands, and that we'll be working through our town council. Hopefully that's enough to do it. I just don't think we order them and say they can't do it, because I don't know if they're gonna
To,
listen
yeah,
anyway.
establish a chain of command, I agree.
I think one point of contact is very important.
Yeah,
Oh, I agree with that.
I think
I'm just
spelling
saying
it out
I would just like to
very
make them aware
clear.
that the board is taking action on this land.
Well, there's two types of land, though. There's a circumventional land, and then there's the land at the bottom that's not in that area.
Correct.
I personally, I would, if we're gonna vote, I want it very crystal clear that does not happen. I don't want that to happen. This is 60 years, this is generations here, that land's been tied up. And I don't want the tail wagging the dog. I want the board. Maybe it goes to them later, but just see what we have. That would be how I would vote, but we don't have a full board.
You can just. You can communicate to the boards and commissions that any communication within, on state land should come to the Board of Selectmen prior to engaging. I just don't know. I've only been here a short time and that hasn't.
I
really
don't
happened.
know when the board has ever told a board they can't do something. That's why I
Yeah,
guess.
I'm trying to figure out what is it we're trying to stop from happening. And why.
Again, 50 to 60 years, this is a big
Walking it up
project.
for, I don't know. I think because that's an area that we think we can help invest in change some of the economics of this town, I think it's fair to say we want to have first dib at it. but-
Maybe, it might be the state wants it,
Oh, I
don't
know,
know.
I get that.
That's what I'm saying, what do they
I
want?
think we all look at that as a piece of something undeveloped and we can make it help shape the town a little better.
It's also in the commercial industrial zone, and we are very limited in that zone in this town right now, so. I think that I agree with Kim on this. I think that we should make it well-known that no other boards should be going and communicating with the state.
And what if they do? What is our part?
What's the harm?
Here's the thing.
Well, if we make it if we
You
make,
have no power over the Conservation Commission if they want to go have a conversation.
they're under the board.
They have their own commission law,
RSAs.
bylaw. The RSA say they're not. The only thing they're under our power is budget. That's how we can control it, but telling them not to do something, it's like, I think we just want to inform them that the board is seriously looking at what the right thing to do with these properties are, and we're inquiring, we're asking them to let us know before they make any other communications. I'm afraid of
I
the,
agree and I disagree at the same
I'm just
time.
afraid of what's gonna happen when we do it the way it's being suggested.
Putting
the
handcuffs
local
on them, more than
governing-
handcuffs serving.
Any land that, and I'm only using COMCOM as a
Well, because they're the only one that
example.
can do it.
Buy land if they want.
Right, I mean, planning board's not gonna reach out to the state about,
And the rec isn't,
So-
and
Oh, rec could.
rec doesn't have the funds.
right,
Bring
But you
before
could get it
warrant.
for free.
but the local
But the warrant can't
govern,
get on the board unless we approve it anyway.
Yeah.
the local governing body always
Mhm.
has to vote on a COMCOM project.
Correct.
So, the power, the natural authority, because I hate the word power, the authority always rests with this board.
Right.
That's why when.
I think what we're trying to prevent, and that's why I think sometimes it's better to have a conversation and clearly set the expectation, is to Selectman Queenan's point, we don't know what the state is planning for this land. So there has to be some very delicate conversations
With the state, yeah.
with the state, and I think that's best done through our council. And so just setting that expectation out there is, we're just asking others to refrain from that investigation until our council has had a chance to.
So we take an action that we're gonna pursue it with legal counsel to find out explore what the options are, what they're gonna do. That's what we tell the other commissions. And that we're asking if they have
Interest,
not to
yeah,
have any
notify us
interest, to
first.
approach the board, so we can hear their interest.
Before approaching the state.
I think that's, versus saying you will not, you shall not, you will not, kind of thing. It puts them, they get to know that we have a plan that we're trying to figure out. We're trying to form a plan that's gonna help benefit the whole town. And having early conversations could, change the outcome.
It could. We have, I think as a governing body, it's a strategic decision for the town, not a lower board to come in, and now we're reacting, is my point. That stops that. If the state is getting 20 phone calls from somebody or other people, it's annoying them.
But when
They're
you-
talking to different people, and
Sure.
that's what I'm trying to stop, to just,
But you're not gonna stop it. If someone on the Conservation Commission wants to make a phone call to the state, we have no power to stop them from doing it. You can ask them, you can tell them, we have no power.
is that true? Is that true or not? I don't know.
How do you stop them?
I don't know if it's true or not. I have no idea.
Your
That's why I need to
your
sit on
authority is-
conservation.
Your authority is limited to the approval of the purchase,
Okay.
but all town officials are supposed to act in the best interest of the town. In the best interest of the town is to work together and not for your own, your board's individual goals. So, ultimately, the local governing body is supposed to set that plan.
Which we don't, it goes to the old topic, we don't really have a master plan, or, define what you want. We don't have a big vision for this town at this point at a board level that we can cascade down to the other committees and boards, commissions, to help us implement. We don't have something like that today.
No, because
So-
it was just destroyed the other night. Right, we wouldn't have one ready.
No, I get it,
Right,
I get it. I just think that, we're taking the action, we're here saying we're going to pursue what the state has plans for. If they have no plans, we're interested, right? We don't know what that looks like yet. Let's just notify those commissions and boards that we're doing that, and ask for any communications related to those properties to come to the board. Just do it that way.
Yeah, but they can still make phone calls, and now
They
it's
could,
getting
whether
messy.
you told them not to or not, they can still make phone
You
calls.
can't tell them, you cannot make phone calls to the state.
It would be a shame, because again, it's for the whole town, not for one board. And I'm not against conservation, I always vote for them with what they want. But again, this is strategic, we have very limited land, and we need to analyze it. And going for grants and whatever ahead of us may not be what's best. I want to set the expectation, or at least, it's very important that they don't do that.
Don't we already have a policy that says if anyone's going for a grant, they have to come for approval first?
Yes.
But it doesn't mean you're not doing the background work already, and that's making the calls and the churning going on. And then you come in and you're saying, got this, we want that. No, that's
You know,
not fair.
This is the challenge. We have a farmer's market that's been around for a year trying to go through, as we go through our bureaucracy to get it approved. If you have committees who are gonna spearhead conversations, I don't see how that hurts, but I understand we wanna make them aware we're interested, they don't corrupt
I
it.
agree to that. It's just the method we're trying to do that in.
So, can I just,
Yes, I'm just
So,
trying to
before
think
you
of the
talk-
town making the decision.
well, so there's been something that's been bothering me for a couple weeks now.
What did I do?
That's what did we do?
I'm right behind you.
I think there's a lot of misconceptions being placed out there in the community. And so it came to me that I'm trying to turn Litchfield into Nashua. And the statement just is utterly ridiculous. First of all, I left Nashua for a reason. And I love Litchfield. But John just said that we don't have a plan. And that's what we're trying to get to. So the very first thing that the Economic Development Committee did was put out that survey. a very successful survey. I mean, look at the participation we got. And we saw clearly, yes, we want some economic development. Yes, we want to save open space. Okay, we gotta drill down. That's gonna take time. We got upcoming things going on, but we're trying to get to that plan, but that plan takes community engagement, right? Because if I know this board wants to get it right, no one's trying to lead this conversation in a certain direction. But there's a lot of pieces that our lower boards don't necessarily know about. They don't have the 500 pages of documentation that I'm having to read through for the PUC. They don't have that. They don't have some of the residents that are coming and speaking to us every day because they're trying to figure out if they've got to leave Litchfield with the revaluation. They might not be hearing that. So we've got to gather all of our information, including what the state may have in store, which we might not have any idea about, and then sit down with COMCOM, sit down with Rec, have a very joint conversation. Because the last thing I want is people to feel like we're trying to make this into something that they don't want. That's not the intention at all. We're just trying to gather information.
And that's why I put pause. It's a pause.
Stop.
I'm not saying we can't do conservation, we can't do whatever.
We don't know.
We need a balance, but we don't know what we have yet. That's all I'm saying, just pause
I don't
and
think
resume later.
I don't think any of this conversation was directed at conservation. When you said as an example,
No,
the ones that had the funds to
exactly.
do something eventually.
I did not
idea.
mention anybody,
So it's an example.
yes.
So if
I just, like
people
I
watching-
said, going back to my, I guess I'll say objection, is just, I think the way we communicate is just communicate to them. I don't think we tell them not to do something. I just think that makes someone go do something. It's like telling a, I won't say it that way.
I don't like putting policies in place for the sake of putting a policy in place, and this is kind of what this is. Telling them, you can't do this, don't do it, we're not gonna allow you to do it. Even if we don't even know if they are. This doesn't sit well with me.
I also don't wanna stifle their
Creativity.
creativity. Yeah, I mean, I think we need to let them know that we're engaging
Yep.
and that we're gonna work with our town council, and if they have any thoughts or ideas,
Yeah.
we
Come here.
wish you not to reach out directly, come to us so we can work through our channels.
A single source.
And it just, word it that way and that's it, and I'm not gonna say hope for the best, I think they're gonna listen and they're gonna go forward that way, but.
One of the things that I think I mentioned at Selectmen Cleaning when we were speaking on Friday is maybe we haven't necessarily had good communication skills. And so what if we arranged once a month for each chair, and we rotate it, to come to the board and have a conversation. 15-minute conversation.
I say that, can't we do like a workshop instead where we have these casual conversations about moving forward as a team? Instead of saying, we're telling you you can't do that, and they'll be like, well, I don't even know what that does, why, I wasn't even gonna do that, but now you're telling me I can't. I'd
Right.
rather casual conversation, let's all go to the same direction. Let you and the lawyers talk with the state, instead of, I do agree, we don't need 3 or 4 or 5 different people asking about land.
But I think having the boards come here, because you're all liaisons and you all know your boards and what's going on at your boards, but maybe there's something these chairs would like to tell the board collectively.
It's actually something, when I was elected, that's what I wanted to do, is have once a month, so the chair or somebody from the board come to us and tell us what's going on, inform us, opposed to a liaison, because we might just knock off 1 or 2 things, this is a meeting, this is what we're looking at, but the chair or whoever that wants to represent them could really fill us in.
Maybe like the first meeting of the month. the first 15 minutes, we have a different chair. You could start with whatever board you want to start with.
Now, do those have to be a public meeting? Can it be just a workshop, a casual conversation? It has to be a public
Yeah, it's a
meeting.
bit both, yeah. I mean, it shouldn't be a heavy lift for the chair to come in and give an overview of what
No.
their,
Right.
especially to help us understand what their goals are and priorities are for
Right.
that, you know, for that kind of session, but.
I mean, you
But
hear
we
it-
as
I
a
think you
town
hear
have
it
to
at
figure out
budget.
our goals as well.
Right. And you need to pass those, it's a two-way conversation, right? So if they come in, they need to hear from the rest of the board. I'm not sure I can support that. That's, you know, can we think about that? Can we pause? Can we, they need to hear that as well. It's communication.
Well, the reason why I was asking, does it have to be like, for example, the DeRocha Farm property? If they came to us months ago and said, hey, this is something we're looking at, that's nothing we could do on TV. You know, because it was, we could not disclose that information.
They could have come to non-public though early and told us.
Oh.
It's
So
really
it could be
about
non-public,
updating
yeah.
us too, right?
Well,
The town knew about that.
when it got to the grant,
Yeah.
when it got to permission of the grant, we should have come out of non-public. And that vote should have been in public. And I'll take responsibility for that. I didn't realize until there also, it should have been a more public conversation. The problem was we were still in conversations, right? We didn't
Yeah.
have a purchase and sales. And normally, that's not the route that you want to take. You wanna have the purchase and sales and then enter into the grant. So it was a little bit of a different conversation, and I think, you know, we all learned, I've learned myself, but I do think that we have more of an opportunity to communicate and hopefully correct some of the misconceptions that are out there.
So what are we gonna do here? Are we going to make a statement? Send a message to boards?
I think at the very least, it needs to be a
Whatever the
request.
board wants.
And a very forward request.
So make a request?
I don't know. I mean,
It doesn't have to be a
it's
policy,
it's
that's why it's here, to start redlining.
Yeah.
Make a request? Do you wanna merge them together, any, or both? Keep them separated? You don't have to make a motion, you can make a request.
Can I suggest that maybe you and Kim get together and bring the two of these into one paragraph that we can all
Like, will it work with legal?
Yeah.
You wanna work with legal?
just run it by legal, make sure it's okay?
Well, the last motion, just a motion of the board is instructing our town administrator to work with town council to do the research, right? That doesn't even affect we have not make any statements to our boards and commissions.
Why? They should know that that's part of,
I understand that, but it doesn't say anything about them. We're not saying they can stop. I think we do need to, again, our town administrator takes direction from this board, and if we're giving her a direction to go do it, we probably should make it official that we're doing it. I say make the motion, let her begin that process of working with town council to
So you-
get the money.
so you want a motion, or do you want a request that's not a policy? What do you want?
I think we're confusing both things. The motion is saying we're authorizing our town administrator to go work on our behalf in this endeavor, this project. The second part is we need to notify the boards and commissions that we've done that, and with that, we're asking them to communicate with the town administrator and the town council, and effectively the board, on any thoughts they may have on it before, and we're requesting them not to reach out.
I would actually have them run everything through Kim, rather than going to legal.
I didn't think
Because
they-
Kim is our,
Yeah,
I didn't
no,
think
I
those
agree to
were
that.
us.
No,
yeah, but she's our,
I didn't think you could.
I was
call it
making the
town
blanket
council.
statement, that's what I was doing, not doing what you were saying.
they've done it.
So, they're two different things, one's about the circumferential highway, one is about other
ones.
land. So, are we going to ask Kim to work with council, what are we gonna do? To do what? Refine these two words here, look at the sentences, because I don't know the legalese, right? Then what? Then what does she do when she comes back?
Then we make a request, an official request.
Official request, so it's, okay. So we don't need a motion. We're gonna look at it
Yeah.
and make it
We can
a
authorize- Yeah, we
request.
can just authorize her to do it.
Uh-oh.
No,
Any
and
I don't think
and I
you
think
need a
it's-
motion.
That's what I'm saying, I don't know,
Tell
that's
me
why I
to
wrote
do
request.
anything.
Yeah, right, so,
But I also would like it to make sure that publicly they know that we're asking Kim to work on our behalf to start investigating this project.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's been done.
and I'll also
Totally.
suggest that Kim is there, is in on it as well, because she's the one that's brought this forward, and like,
She's NRPC
Yeah,
and
and all
it's,
that.
yeah.
and Kim does Kim K does our bidding for us on a daily basis.
Right.
So rather than having all five of us, blasting her with calls and emails, just let Kim, Q,
Okay,
handle it.
So
So-
it sounds like we struck both of them. We've already authorized Kim to work on this project.
Yep.
With
Kim and
Kim
Kim,
Queenan.
Kim Square.
Yes, Kim squared. And now the only option is, I think we just send a memo to the boards and committees.
Yep.
Letting them know that we've taken this action and that we're working on a bigger picture, bigger scope.
okay,
And if they have any
Yeah.
interest or intention, or if it was on their scope,
To let the town
bring it forward
administrator
to us, so
know.
we're all on the same page.
So Kim and I can work on a memo. Okay. And then, you know,
Please.
it's a draft, so we can just circulate it.
Just
to the-
circulate it, yeah, and if it thumbs it up, it goes in.
so remember, this was a work sheet, we were supposed to work on this together, you just did, okay? I'm striking motion and just making requests, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Here we go.
Next page, and I'll be quiet about that.
You're all right.
Anytime I hear about tip amendments, I get nervous because we won that grant over to fix the Corning Road intersection on 3A. And oh my goodness, please tell me they didn't pull it, and they have not. Okay, so it's still on. So that's number E, the $1.2 million to fix that intersection is still on the plan. I think it's gone up to 1.6 million, but we don't have to pay any town match. So, like conservation, they are now at the mercy of the executive council and the governor. Okay, so I go to all the executive council meetings and show pictures of the accidents at that intersection, so they don't pull it. Hopefully we get past that stage and then it goes to the governor. All right, that's where we are with that.
Now you can show them the development across the street now.
Well, that didn't make it fail. That intersection is currently a C minus. It's going to fail in 10 years. Lou Karen, our engineer, thinks 6. It's really the gas station and the other development that was gonna trip it. All right, so that's still on, which is a good thing. All right, that's all I have for the NRPC update. So we have, just to sum it up, we have the $56 increase. We have the circumferential highway is sort of mostly dead. Let's reach out to the state on that. And I am chairman now, so we will focus on smaller towns' needs, not just Nashua, Hudson, and Merrimack. And the main thing we did was the grants. We are making them public so people can go for them more. All right, that's what I have for that update.
Phew, that was a good one.
That's 40 years ago.
Budget, the increase of $56, do we have to do anything?
I think
No, we'll just-
we're gonna get it.
Yeah, go in next year's budget, yeah. It's my understanding that that project was first discussed and brought forward in 1960.
That's old.
Circumvention?
Yep.
Don't you wish it was completed, at least some of it?
Well, when it went across into Hudson, and it just died on Lowell Road because somebody didn't want to displace some mosquitoes.
Kevin said it perfectly, though. You set it up phenomenally, right? You did, because that's been working with the planning board for years. The state fell through.
Yep.
We set up 4 businesses to get here on that end, right?
Yep.
And it fell through with the.
At least the lower section where it connected to, Lowell Road to 102, not 102, 111.
It was going to go out to 111, yeah, and
Yeah.
that's where it died, yeah.
Yep.
Because
And then-
it had to go through a swamp or something.
Yeah, and then the 111 to 102,
Yeah.
I don't think would have made too much of a difference around here.
But it has served this town well, and that's why you
Yep.
are residential in the middle, and it was a great model that they came up with. It still could be, it still might be, we don't know yet until we do our research.
Right. Up next, Town Administrator Projects and Goals. Ooh,
See?
that's a new one.
You get to tell me what you want me to do. So this was
Oh,
just.
these are your projects and goals, not ours.
So I'm looking for your feedback
Okay.
on, some of these, and I wanted to make sure that you were aware of things. I don't want, sometimes things come up and I may not tell you.
Yeah, I'll take my
So,
stuff back.
the federal grant,
I'll
compliance
get it.
policy, which was the first one,
You can keep the land
that
if you
actually
want.
came up
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna throw it
with the
away.
auditors. So the auditors are here and they're doing their, annual audit.
Okay.
And it was noticed that there was not a federal grant compliance policy, which we're required to have. So the auditors, gave us some input. NHMA gave me some input. And I completed a draft, which just got approved by legal today. And I've sent it back to the auditors. And if that's okay, then that will come to you at your next meeting. But there are federal compliance issues that are not met by our purchasing policy. So we need to have these more stringent, restrictions and regulations just on the federal grants. So, stormwater, regulations and procedures. So Kevin Brown and I, we're working with the New Hampshire Stormwater Coalition, which is through DES, on some MS4 requirements. One of them is like trainings. And we are trying to develop these trainings, which our boards will need to go through to be compliant with MS4. We're trying to create our own versus having to spend big money to have them created for us. So DES is working heavily with Kevin and I, and we hope to come back to you with some documents. We are trying to get 100% compliant with the 2017 permit, knowing in 2 or 3 years the next permit's gonna come out. The Energy Committee, so we're working to gather information to help the Energy Committee draft a request for the capital improvement. And when I say that, so some of their ideas, that Selectman Brunel's looking at, they mentioned they were very interested in looking at generators, for the transfer station or highway. They're interested in looking at LED lights, within town hall. They're interested in energy saving, projects. So we got a little bit sidetracked with the loss of our building inspector. Speaking with Mr. LaCroix, he's back on it. And so we'll be looking at things like that. We're also looking at just building things in general, because we have some things within the building that we're not sure when things were last tested, and I'll give an example, the bubble. So those filters, those need replacements, they need to be tested in every so often, so Mr. LaCroix is right on that, and we'll be looking at those type of things. We're working on the 2025 budget, which I want to tell you is ugly. So I just want to put that out there.
Thanks for that ray of sunshine.
Sorry. But on that, I will give you a ray of sunshine that came through, today. Our fire hydrants just received the rest of the year, cause you only get one half of the year, when they issue it. They issued the second half of the year, no increase. So for 2024, we should see about $18,000 saved on that line compared to what was budgeted. So that's a raise.
Saved on 600,000.
Yeah, still $500,000. We'll take it though.
$18,000, there you go. Utility appraisals, we are working with, Sanssouci on those, so we're getting the information back that they're requiring, sending them plans that they need. He's very thorough, they are just very thorough, so it's a lot of information. I did just get the tax maps electronic files, so I'm going to connect them to the website so that people can look up tax map information online. C-Click Fix, that's Selectmen Brunel and I are working on the new tool. Goes with the Civic Plus website, so that we can create forms, internal and external, so people can request service. Penachuk rate case. So I think I mentioned a lot of information to review, and technical session this Thursday. Economic Development Committee, I'm working with Jay Mankara. The Economic Development Committee gave us a list of data that they want, and we're trying to work through that. Some of it he's gonna have NRPC, GIS do. But when we get that information back, that's gonna form a lot of the conversation.
Right.
Close work with Jay on that. The SIP plan, I'm still gathering information from the department heads. They do have library and highway. And one of the big issues for highway is the paving of Recycling Way, the highway department, and the transfer station. But library's requests all seem to be the same as last year, a bunch of small projects, put them together. We will have, by the end of July, the police station. The police chief has been working on it, so that will be coming forward. Review of non-public minutes, we might have almost forgot because we talked about this a while ago. But the state law is that they're brought back every 10 years and you need to review them. We have been gathering them together. A lot of review. I've got to scan them. I've got to catalog them and figure out what RSA they went into non-public under, and then I will start scheduling a session where we will go into non-public to review minutes. But it's a big process. Onboarding for new employees, so working with Primex, Karen, and we're trying to document and standardize the onboarding of our employees. Everything from the training that they need coming in, which is a little different depending on which department, to what systems they need, and making sure that John gets the information he needs. There is a training portal which has been supplied by Primex. So we're working to make sure that all town employees, everyone from a call firefighter to a library, has signed up for that Primex portal, and that we are issuing the required trainings each year. And joint loss is a little bit involved with that. So shared drives, access to information. This is something that actually John had developed these drives a while ago. They weren't getting much use. I'm really trying to populate them now with information so that all department heads and all departments have access to shared information. I think that has been one of the real drawbacks here is you have a lot of people that tend to work in silos, and really making sure that everyone has access to the information is key. And John had set these up a while ago. Technical Review Committee, about working in silos. So, in talking with all the department heads, one of the things that we realized in kind of a drawback in the planning situation, in the planning board preparation, is not having a technical review committee. So, in other municipalities, what happens is the fire representative, the police representative, even the town administrator, the building inspector, road agent, they get together and they review projects. And it's not every week, it's generally like every other week because it's before a planning board meeting. They review, they make their comments, and they put together one document to the planning board. And so this is kind of a rough draft of what that would look like. We put all the comments on one sheet. Now, the reason that this is important is right now your planning administrator sends plans, or the property, the developer sends plans to fire. Fire writes back to the planning administrator. Then same with police, same with road. Road doesn't know what police said, fire doesn't know what police said. There's a lot of miscommunication that's happening. So when they're all sitting in a technical review session, they're all hearing each other's comments, and police might say, oh, fire, I didn't think of that. That's right, but we need this. So, that's something we put together, and we actually have our first session tomorrow morning.
Good.
And then there's 2 software applications that, working with IT and finance. One, an avatar kiosk, and I understand this came up before and was not approved by the board. I have a quote. I need to check with IT because looking at it, it looks like it might have some requirements that we may not have, or I want to make sure that we do. There's a lot of wasted time here. Property owners have the right to their property record card at any given time of day or night. That's just a requirement. Donna spends an awful lot of time emailing out property record cards. And you could have a property management or a mortgage broker who's asking for 20 different properties, right? You need to have some way online for them to look up and get this information and print it themselves.
And that's public information?
It is public information, absolutely. One of the most requested documents with a lot of case law on it. And then financial management software, so BMSI, we know it's no longer going to be improved or any changes supported on that. All municipalities are starting to look at what the next system's going to be. Karen's, us, and I have started to look at it. So more on that, but we want to come forward with a good proposal because that's kind of being retired out by the company. And then municipal website, the paving just got done. We're supporting the zoning board. I met with Chairman got here the other day. We have a lot of website pages and agendas and things that need to be updated. We're still getting meeting minutes posted to the new website, so if you have any boards that you are hearing have concerns, please let me know. I have a whole year worth of heritage that we're working on at the moment. We're implementing the new town fee, and we're trying to organize and digitize town records. The last one I'm gonna mention, it seems like a lot. Vicky, our library director, is doing a great job with the joint loss. I mean, she's phenomenal. And they are going to be updating the safety manuals, which will ultimately come to you. They will also be starting inspections of all our buildings. So, those inspections will come to you, and Primex is requiring them before January, so.
Is this new? Do they do this usually? Look at our buildings?
They're supposed to be done yearly,
They have done in the past.
Talent Hall, all that?
all of them. All of them.
I get things from my bosses in the electrical room.
So what did I miss? Did I miss anything that the board is expecting?
I wasn't expecting half of this.
I do not like anything that I'm doing and want me to stop.
I don't think it's anything you can stop. I think working with the staff and getting it done is all we can do. There's a lot of backlog that's happened over the years. So a lot of this is just trying to put things and organize. And I think and you said it a couple times, and I didn't say the staff is definitely helping out. And I think we need to leverage more of the staff and give you a little more free time too. But as soon as you get some of these things, kind of this is how we're going to do it. It's down to the staff to give you more time for other projects because you know more are coming.
And I've heard people tell me too that they accuse you of doing a lot of things, and you are, but we're getting compliant on a lot of things. There's the backlog you talked about, you know. But you do work with the will of the board, and you're doing it, right? So, but this is a good way. You're publicly saying what you're working on now, so everybody sees it, right?
So I think that, and Selectman Brunel's right, you had a lot of change, right? And you had a significant amount of change over the past few years. You had COVID, then you had had to change police chiefs, you had to change fire chiefs, and it just the TA, you had to change TAs, and then they built it. It's just snowballed, and so a lot of this is just backlog. Your staff was, keeping the town going through all this. And, I often wonder if I'm asking too much. And I try to keep communication open, and I think we have our monthly meetings, and, my door's always open. I mean, so, I think we try to communicate, and, but it does concern me. And so, if I may, just skip to number 4 on my town administrator report. Last week at the municipal managers meeting, we heard Dr. Nicole Sawyer, who's just phenomenal. She does a lot of work with police and fire around the state, talking about burnout and municipal burnout. And so I shared her presentation with the staff last Friday, and Chief Jones came right into my office and said, "You know what? I've taught on stress at the police academy. I'd love to do one for our staff, town staff, town boards if they want to join. And so he's put it together, and he's already figured out these dates, and we'll open it up to all staff and any board member or commission member that wants to come, and Chief Jones will teach it.
Very nice.
So that's a positive that I think, you know, that's where just having that communication, you know, me coming back, sharing the presentation, it was a remarkable conference, a lot of good things. I spent a lot of time talking to the town administrator from Hollis. So a lot of good things. And then I'm just gonna back up because Dave Mullen will kill me if I don't. The asphalt, the brick and concrete, all this stuff is coming into the transfer station and it's kind of going out into a big pile. And then when it gets really, really big, our highway employees go down and they load it to our trucks and they bring it down to Continental. Well, because it's down there, it's getting mixed up. When it gets mixed, Continental can't accept it as easily. The amount that we are paying is exactly what the town residents would need to pay Continental. This is not budgeted into the transfer station. We're actually having to pay this out of the recycling revolving fund. So what we would like to do is going forward, and we have spoken with, Dave has spoken with Continental. Going forward, we would just like to send residents to Continental and cut out the middleman.
Where do they go? Morgan or down on West Road? Where do residents?
Good question.
I was gonna
I
ask that.
assumed they were going to the sand
Pit?
pit.
To the pit?
Yeah, that's what I was told.
Then we, Morgan then, okay.
Yeah.
So it's in town, it's only up the street.
Yes, because they said it was just a mile or so.
But are they staffed on the weekends?
I did not ask. That's a great question.
Yeah.
I don't think they are either. I think they're only operating Monday through Friday, but they could be.
Yeah, probably not. I'm sure they're gonna have to go across the scale, dump, then come back across the scale to find out how much they had,
Yeah.
and then pay them. So I'm sure it's Morgan.
Yeah, it makes it
It's 20 bucks a ton, so just flip my 20.
Do we get a lot of that? I'm guessing we're getting enough where it's becoming an issue.
It is, and because it's taking, like the other day, they brought a lot over, and it took our 3 workers, because they're loading our highway equipment, so
Yep.
we're using our labor, our equipment, to again, take this
touch
to
it
the
twice.
final destination. It's being,
If it's the one in town, I have no problem with asking residents to do it. I think if it's the one in Londonderry, you might find people dumping stuff places. Let's find out which one they're
But
talking about.
that's the asphalt plant, so I'm guessing it's Morgan.
I would think so too.
I kinda think it's that one.
Good to count.
Is that
You just start seeing piles on the side
Does
of
it
the road.
make
or
sense to
something.
get something, you know, once we figure it out, get a notice out to anybody who's subscribed and get it up on the recycling page and all that stuff?
okay.
Something.
What facility, and we'll find out what days, hours.
Yeah, and we can do a social media post too, just to.
Yeah. Thanks Adam for taking it.
I didn't know Highway did that as well. A lot of tasks they do.
Well, Highway's the only one that has trucks to do it, so.
But every time I'm just becoming more aware of what they do. And I want to backtrack, and I might have missed it. You were talking about the backlog. Plus you had the IT website rollout. I mean, you had a data scrub. You did a lot. There's a lot going on here. So that hopefully the public and the citizens realize there's a lot going on.
Positive.
A lot of, but we would mention
we have
growth and moving forward,
We
right?
have phenomenal staff,
Yep.
and
You do.
the part that worries me is no one complains. They just keep talking. So, and on that note, I want to thank Laura Mills and Dave Mullen and McQuestion Farms for how wonderful,
It's McQuestion, no,
McQuestion.
no R.
sorry, the flowers. So Laura did all the plantings
Yeah.
this year, and definitely has a green thumb. If you get a chance, go into the police station wing. So their floors were done this weekend, and they look phenomenal. So
So he's back.
he is back.
Good.
Yes, he is back. He was here all day Saturday. We've got those locker rooms cleaned up, new runners. We're putting a protective coating on their kitchen floor because
Yep.
there were areas where it was actually ruining the
tile.
floor. So, yeah, we're definitely maintaining, trying to keep this town's asset in good shape. You know, we have this building for generations to come. And then I just want to give a heads up now. September 21st through the 25th. And there's no budget meetings within this time period. I'm taking vacation to go to the ICMA annual conference. This is something I consider professional development for me, and there's a number of really good sessions down there, and these are people from all over the country.
So why are you paying for it, and why are you taking your vacation time for it?
Well, so the vacation time we can talk about. The payment, I'm sure we cannot. So it's very expensive. But
It's part of your job, the way I see it. Yeah.
It's something I really want to do. There's a number of New Hampshire managers going down this year because it's so good, and it's in Pittsburgh. Never been to Pittsburgh, and I'm not sure what. But so there's but it's all paid for, and I'm really excited because I think there's some really good sessions that can relate to things that we have coming up. So that's it.
I just don't think it should be coming out of your own pocket. You're doing it for the betterment of the town.
Doing it for the betterment.
Yourself,
What I
but
can
also the town,
provide.
yes. Maybe we need to look at that, try to find the money for that. Okay, very good, thank you. Up next, Selectmen reports. Rec Commission and Heritage, Mr. Gannon.
Rec, we meet tomorrow night. They're on their summer rotation, so they meet once a month for June and July. And then Heritage, the meeting was supposed to be on Thursday and it got canceled, so we'll meet next month.
Very good. Conservation, Emergency Management, and Energy, Mr. Brunel.
See, Conservation hasn't met since our last meeting. I have not had an emergency management meeting yet.
That's a good thing.
Yep. And then Energy, I think, just build off what Kim had shared with you earlier about the activities that emerged. We did have a presentation around community solar, which is I describe it as we basically buy a portion of a solar panel system and we gain the benefits of it. More to come, I guess, about it, but that's available online, obviously, to watch the meeting. That's it.
Great. Ms. Queenan, Capital Improvement Committee and Economic Development.
Let's see.
And RPC, all the above.
Oh,
You
no.
kinda did RPC.
Yeah, I did. So capital improvement, I think, Kim Kleiner, our town admin, did a pretty good job there. We did set a tentative schedule for the remainder of the year. Hopefully we can stick to it. It's pretty aggressive. We did hear from Highway and Library. We still have the other department. Sounds like police is coming on board next. Planning Board, we met June 18th. I filled in for another selectman, Kevin. Hopefully he's feeling better. We did get past the construction management and erosion control, post-construction. That was approved. And that met one of the warrant articles for the EPA, so that is now done. Right? Done? Perfect. All right, so that was a crucial vote. We already updated NRPC. Economic Development, we meet next, coming up this week, Wednesday, yeah. It says community meeting room on the calendar.
Yes.
Is that true? Okay.
Is there a school board here?
On Wednesday? Yes.
So from the last meeting, I just want to reiterate that we're an inquiry group only. All members from all the boards in town, including the school. And we really had a charter to go out and look at our tax impact fees to see how that was working now that the SIP was in line for a few years. So again, we're just exploring economic development. Do the people want it? It sounds like 77% of the town did. They were very specific on what they wanted. And we're just looking at areas potentially with the current model we have where they could go. So again, it was, just to reiterate, it is an inquiry only. We'll bring the data back to the Board of Selectmen, and then if they decide to go forward and make warrant articles, then it all comes back to the voters to decide what they want. I was thinking of changing the name from Economic Development Committee to Economic Development Inquiry Committee, so we wouldn't have that incident again, but I won't do that. There's be a website change. So it's a Inquiry Board. All right.
There you go.
Right. That's all I have.
Okay, good. Budget Committee meets Thursday night. School Facilities doesn't meet until July, the last meeting. So summer schedule, one for the month. And then Mrs. Kleiner and myself have been invited and accepted to meet with the new superintendent as well as the chair of the school board on July 10th. Is that the right date? Because it was switched. It was originally the 12th, I think.
Yes.
So now it's going to be the 10th, and it'll be here at 3:30 PM, and we look forward to that.
Before their meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, before the school board meeting, yep, and we look forward to getting together and chatting with them. Maybe building some bridges. And that's all I have. Is there anything that anybody else has? And I'm assuming by our guest in the room, we have a non-public tonight. So, that will conclude our public portion of this program. Our next meeting is on the 8th. Is it the 8th? Okay, I knew it was after the 4th. Okay, the 8th of July. We do have items in non-public under RSA 91-A semicolon 3, 2A in parentheses, the dismissal, promotion, compensation of any public employee or the disciplining of such employee or the investigation of any charges against him or her, unless the employee affected, 1, has a right to a meeting, and 2, requests that the meeting be open, in which case that request shall be granted. Do we have motion to go into
Make that
non-public?
motion?
Motion from Mr. Gannon and a second from Mr. Brunel. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 400. We are going into non-public at 9:07 PM. Everybody be safe, be well. We'll talk to you soon.
I have a better one. Okay. Okay, is there anything in the green one yet?